live. And we're live. Hello and welcome to another Twitter Spaces. We've got the title of the space, pDAI ? In honor of the RH tweet that says a bunch of question marks about stop buying pDAI ? Are these are these videos of the pDAI exploiter free minting and nuking pDAI buyers ? How long until others figure out how to inflate for free instead of buying ? Or does he have some magic keys ? How long will people keep buying into a bugged hyperinflating coin ? Stop buying pDAI ? And I want to hear from the people. I want to put it down in crypto history what people are thinking at this point. So go ahead and request to speak. I know there's another Twitter Spaces going on right now that is a lot
I'm
of
sorry,
fun.
Maddie, not to cut you off, but the guy who was running that Twitter Spaces probably fell asleep because it's like 4 a.m. his time, and his phone probably just died, and the Spaces ended. So we're actually probably going to be
No,
getting every single person
just
from there
now?
coming here.
What?
Swear to God, just as
Every
you were
time,
while you
dude.
were
What is
talking.
it?
Well, dude, he's gonna wake
I
up
didn't know
tomorrow.
that.
But I
I didn't
swear
know
to
that.
God to you, you started yours maybe like a minute before he ended his. Like, oh, did we have
Jesus
beer? Yeah, B Roots
Christ.
was in there.
Yeah, I was
Dude,
in
you
there.
came. I swear to God, bro, you perfect time, bro.
Nah.
It's like
All right.
you're Maddie,
It
bro. The
was
streamer sense, bro.
right. Yeah. Well, I'm pulling all the strings, as you guys know. So might as well be. So yeah, it sounds like we're gonna have a good discussion tonight. So what's the latest that you guys have because you guys have been in these spaces for hours, for multiple days. What's your hot take right now?
Well, I mean, it's exactly what we've been saying for the last 4 days to everybody. Like, literally, it's played out. But the thing is, there's question marks, guys. There's question marks. What's that?
No,
One,
no
two.
question marks. There's extreme clarity. Extreme. It can't be any more clear.
Nice. Yeah. To all jokes aside, like, I mean, at this point, it's like I don't think anyone should be arguing the fact that it's pretty clear what Richard's trying to tell us.
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't think there's a question mark behind pDAI anymore. I mean, you
Well,
have. I
that's
think there is. I
clickbait.
think there's
All
very
right.
5D chat. I
I
don't
want
think like.
everybody to hear this. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's clickbait.
I like. I don't like again. It's
So
yeah, like it's
so
Richard
all
has come
right,
out and said it's not him. Richard is telling us not to buy tokens with infinite mints
right.
while we have somebody actively infinitely minting pDAI. Richard is saying it's not him.
So
If you
so
could still believe, yeah, go ahead.
maybe you guys can catch me up because you guys have been, in this for so long. So are these people going to stop buying
No.
pDAI?
I mean,
Well,
the people. I mean, we definitely. I mean, you. That's kind of what we've been doing. There's probably going to be a couple of people that are going to join that
well,
have that are going to be pro pDAI supporters. We have very
Well,
few.
the
I
last time
think
I
it's
checked the chart, it was up like 60% in the hour.
Well, I'll tell you right now, there's people in group chats that I pop in and out of on Telegram that are aggressively buying pDAI because
Right.
they're just not having it. They're like, no, Richard Hart, he's playing games. He's got question marks in
Right.
his post.
Denial
Like
phase.
and
they're
I
not going
would
to
like to
accept
say
it.
I think this is exemplified a lot by Sami still tweeting about this. I think that's a little bit of a problem. And again, I'm not trying to call out Sami or anything, but he's still trying to get people to think that Richard could possibly be behind this. I don't think it's bad that we buy pDAI, but again, I think we just need to get the narrative clear. Richard is not behind pDAI. Richard has zero plans to peg pDAI. Richard is not the pDAI minter. this is a
Well,
malicious.
yeah. So that's the information that everybody needs to hear. And after they've heard it like 5 or 10 times and they don't change their behavior, that's when I start asking the type of question like, well, when is somebody going to airdrop everybody in pDAI a token that doesn't have an infinite mint bug in it? And then they can like go on participating in Pulse Chain and like doing their thing.
When pDAI goes to 0, which will never happen.
Well, so let me ask
Again,
you
who do
this.
you want
So let
somebody?
me
Do you
ask you
like?
this. So you guys watched Wallets. How much more does the OA have to say about it?
I don't even know. I'm not
Is
even.
it
100K.
is it the fixer bot only that has pDAI now, or what?
I'm sorry. No, are you referring to the pDAI bag that the OA wallet sent to a different wallet to sell?
Yeah. Like we've all been
He's
watching
still,
that. I've been tweeting
yeah.
about it. Like, but it spent 3% yesterday, and people didn't
It
get the
spent,
message. And then it spent
yeah. It's
85% today, and people didn't get the message. So it's pretty much almost out in that wallet. But are there other OA wallets that can finish the job?
I'm sure there are.
But I don't think, yeah, and I'm sure, like I said, I think Richard is more, I don't think he's trying to I think he's trying to allow people that are already in pDAI to exit.
Mhm.
Because again,
Right.
Richard probably isn't trying to take our money. No, he's trying to give us a signal that,
Right.
hey guys, the meme coins I want you buying are the ones that he's buying. PulseX, or for real meme coins, we're talking about Most Wanted, the Pump Tires meme coins, the ones that he launched. Those are
Yep.
probably the ones that he wants us to buy. And he's trying to send us that message through
Exactly.
the
Looks
blockchain and
like
on
it.
Twitter.
Exactly. Think about it like this, right? Last night, he literally dropped a post telling us not to basically don't touch this thing. And then he didn't just sell from the OA wallet. He sent it to another wallet so we could see that he'd moved the pDAI. Then he approved the transaction and sold $2,000. And then no one really done anything. So he sold 20 grand or 30 grand. Then everyone started selling. And then within hours, it starts getting bought up again. And he's like, these fucking idiots. I'm literally sending them a message like, here, you can get out. I'm allowing you to get out. Like, I'm not dumping all of this.
Right.
I've
Warning
approved,
shot was fired and
warning shot was
everything.
fired. But you
Yeah.
idiots keep buying. So now I'm going to have to send another message with a little bit more detail. And I'm going to have to dump into my pump tire coins to send you guys over there and go and play over there, you degenerates, because you're playing
And
into a fucking minter's hands. And I'm trying to tell you, that's what
and
happened.
Maddie, I don't want, just in case, I don't know if you're fully caught up yet. The minter is now minting coins from other protocols. He just minted Genosis.
And what
I
does
don't know.
that mean for pDAI?
I'm just saying what this is showing is I think this more or less that other PRC20s are not, we should avoid all the PRC20s that are mintable.
I think Gnosis is a one of the collateral tokens that might work with the pDAI contract. I wouldn't be surprised if that rolled into pDAI and into the contract and turned into pDAI next.
So is
And now, yes, again, I haven't
this
looked
is
at.
the Vietnam guy?
Well, this is assumably
Yeah.
most likely. This guy is
Viet
most
Cong.
likely the Vietnam guy.
The guy
Yeah.
who was bragging and posting videos of how he had an infinite money printer on Pulse Chain.
Again, we
99.
don't know if the videos. We don't know if the videos are fake. I am seeing people try to call them fake. Again, I don't think it really matters if the videos are real or not. Maddie, again, I don't know how much you know about this guy, but he's also a degenerate gambler that lost all his money gambling and talked about wanting to kill himself. This guy is just a full-blown degenerate gambler,
He needs sex
and
therapy.
yes, he needs to stake his Hex
Yeah.
555
Well, he needs sex therapy. That's for
and
sure.
buy ink. He needs to if he
Matt,
buys ink, it'll take away his
Matty,
problems.
you've been drinking, bro.
Come on, let the
I
man drink, bro.
I have
It's
not
2
had
a.m.
that much, but yeah, like
Okay, fair enough.
I'm enjoying these 6 hours every night that I get to spend with you guys joking around and saying that Matty token rugged and all that. Like I'm enjoying it. So
I don't drink
I'm
often.
not in the Matty token. I'm not the one calling it out all the time. But
no,
the guys who
it's all
hold it
love.
are.
It's all love actually
And
nowadays.
they do want the
It's
liquidity
crazy.
back. I'll be honest with you. They do want the liquidity
I
back.
heard
But
so many prayers, man. So many prayers.
I don't
I
drink
wish I had the
often.
sound effects. I wish I had the sound effects to continue the prayer thing because that was really good
I mean, I
content,
can put it
guys.
on if you want, bro.
That was really good content. Yeah, put it on. Come on, like give
Yeah.
the people what they want.
Yeah, I don't drink often, but tonight I'm drinking in celebration. I want to thank everybody that was involved. We pushed through this like champs. Cheers. Cheers, Maddie. Thanks for having us up.
Welcome to the party.
Matty, what price did you buy pDAI at?
I bought pDAI, I think it was $200 for $1 million, maybe $100, and I sold on a 2x. So I'm the most wrecked that I've heard of.
No, you're not as wrecked as the guy that was
I
just on
don't
the
know.
other side.
Funding Jim's 5K clips are worth $240. So you can take that into consideration.
You guys are just trying to make me feel better, but I appreciate it.
Maddie, don't worry. Don't even if you want it's just in case you don't want to feel wrecked, go look at what Fire Whale was doing and you'll feel a
Look,
lot better.
look. If you're
Right.
looking for an exit, you should probably get KRJ up here. He's great with charts. I think that that pump up today was the exit, but yeah, I mean Luna
Sure,
C.
yeah.
Yeah, Luna C. I mean Luna still trades today. It's like, oh, people are still buying it. This fucking thing is gonna annoy the shit out of us forever, I'm sure. But there might be a better exit. What do you think, KRJ? What do you think this thing's gonna do?
Might not have been able to hear the last few seconds, but KRJ, we just called on you to say what you think pDAI is going to do in the next few days.
What's the
Well, if
TA?
I can fix the contract, it's going to go up. But if I can't, then it's going to go down.
Yeah. Well, from TA, I mean, it had the bounce today. We got the rejection close to where I thought it would go. Do you think it'll bounce up again? I think
I think it's going to.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get a small recovery, trade sideways, and then get a lower low. We should probably close this candle out a little higher than where we're currently at. So it's going to bounce around.
So did the price go back to where Richard Hart started fudding it between yesterday and then earlier today? How did that happen?
I got my chart up. So 2 zeros and a 4. That's where we're going. Before we drop again. I'll post the chart if you want me to.
Post it. Nest it. Or just DM it to Maddie so he doesn't have everybody front run him.
I mean, so, oh, dude, I'll sell on a double and miss out on 40K every time. That's fine. But so when is everybody gonna shift into like this pDAI narrative? Like, is that still a couple days away or what?
Is it inflationary?
No, but people dump it really fast. So
wait,
It's
pDAI?
not
What?
inflationary.
Wait,
yeah,
what is pDAI?
You know, it's what Sami calls like the JPEG version of DAI that is from Pump.Tires.
Oh,
First
fuck.
20
Richard's
coins
side.
launched.
That's it, man. That's
First
it.
20. So
Pump
when
die.
are people gonna wake up to that?
Yeah, pump die. Who knows? They're late though. You're early. Everybody, you're early for pump die. Get on it. For sure.
Because I think that people who are they're like pDAI warriors, they're gonna need something to, you know, like come down from. Like they're gonna need an alternative where they can fight for their dollar.
Well, that's why Richard Hart is signaling to people to go over to pump tires. It's the most logical step to take if you want to degen on meme coins.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, he aped him most and pump today with the pDAI, and I'm surprised he didn't just go straight for the RH die. We're gonna I think we should call it pump die.
I mean, yeah, we'll find a name for it. But again, I mean, I think Richard is signaling to us that he wants us in these pump tires coins.
Yeah.
And I think again, if you kind of look at it the way he was doing it, Listen, all I'm saying is yesterday he moved the pDAI, bought cores. Today he bought his two main meme coins, which are most and pump. Now we could see him tomorrow start buying the other ones. That's all I'm saying. It kind of makes sense that he didn't buy like the RDI because of how low it is. Because if you throw 100K into a 2 million market cap token, then you do. I mean, think about it this way: he aped
Then you
150K
peg
into
it.
most, and
You peg it real
Yeah.
quick.
he sent the price up 3x. So just imagine what he would have done to that. And again, I think we did
Would
see
have
a
pegged it.
rotation from pDAI into normal DAI
See, that's
because
what.
again,
See,
you had our DAI
were.
going up like 3x
I thought we were
on
gonna get a peg today in the pump tires die, which is why I'm asking you guys, like, how long is it gonna take for everybody to
Maddie, how
wake
much you
up
been
and like?
drinking, bro?
I've had 2 drinks.
What drinks?
But
What's your drink, Matty?
yeah, I mean, again,
Standard
there's always
unit.
a chance that you know, pump tires die if it hits $1. I mean, I don't know.
Bro, that
Could see
would be
some.
hilarious if pump
It
tires
would be
die went to
hilarious.
$1.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Richard would send that one to $1. Well, not with the bags that. Let's just say if that one went to $1, Almighty would be our great friend Almighty would have so much. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys know, but we saw a couple whales from pDAI before all the shit show kind of started with
Herman,
the
Yeah,
minter. They rotated. They had like
bro. That
500K a piece.
Herman played y'all.
Yeah,
Herman knew something was up, bro. I'm telling you. He the timing on that
yeah,
was
yeah,
insane, bro.
yeah.
He moved well, not all, but a lot of his PDAI bags over there. Very, very good timing.
It was a good move. Yeah,
Hey guys,
I was in before him.
I have a question for everybody here. What happens to Atropa and Purple Bitcoin, pWBTC? What happens to them now?
I want to say BTC
What
is bonded. We got to unbond it
I
somehow.
mean, we can there. We can. You can't really since I mean the liquidity is burnt. We can't really. We can't. We could as a community come together and attempt to manipulate the amount of liquidity in there and kind of move it per se. It would require. I don't know exactly how you would do it. On Atropa though, I mean, honestly, Maria is infinitely minting Atropa and then nuking it. I mean, we can see what his direction is, but again, I'd like to just in case anybody here the last week, Maria is a schizo, is crazy, is mentally unstable, and at the first chance he had, he went and nuked Atropa as soon as he heard about he didn't even know about the mint until he nuked Atropa.
Yeah,
So
I'd
Well,
be.
that's what we assume. That's what we assume.
no, we know this again. What you don't know is that I know the person who personally texted Maria and told him.
Oh my,
And these screenshots, if you can go, you can actually take the effort to find. There are screenshots
I
of the
saw the
text
tweets. I
messages.
saw the tweets
The,
from
the text
Almighty.
messages, yeah,
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 I
those
saw
are
that.
real. Whether you choose to believe that or not is up to you. But yeah, Maria didn't know about that at all until somebody let him
yeah. I
know.
told Almighty, and Almighty told him. But yeah. So he aped out of Atropa, and he's been buying BTC. And I'm monitoring how BTC is affected by pDAI. When people are selling pDAI, it net affects BTC by 20% of net effect of wholesale pressure or whatever at this point. So that's kind of an idea of what the LP is like. But
Which BTC?
the
Wrapped. P
yeah,
wrapped.
the purple Bitcoin,
Okay.
the copy that we're talking about. I'd like to see it. I'm bullish on that one. I mean, we can get that to BTC price. I'd love to see it
Yeah,
save that one. But I don't know. We'll
I
see.
think. I think if people stop buying PDAI and just let the price go down, um, there's still going to be downside on a lot of the coins that are linked to it. But then I think there's going to be some good opportunities. Like I really like the look of PTGC and UFO right now. I think they're going to go lower a bit, but what they need to do is they need to de-risk. They're like the LPs, like the people providing liquidity in the farms. They need to pull that liquidity, let try and disconnect as much as possible from pDAI, and then I think those are really good plays, especially PTGC. That's like what I got my eyes on personally.
I want it lower.
Yeah, no, same.
What's
Same. I think
Kara
we
J?
will go
What's
lower.
the TA on TGC? He had some good charts on that one. I'm not sure if it's targeted or not at the targets or not.
Yeah, it's trading just above the buy zone, so it's in the capitulation. Like I said, we should have another week of where it pops up and drops back down. So we need a lower high. No confirmation yet, but it's down there. I think the tax tokens are going to be hard for these pDAI to be able to take the liquidity out of it. I think the reason why it's dropping is because pTGC is connected to all these other tokens. Since those are falling, the value of pTGC is going down. But if you look at the amount of cells that are coming out of pTGC, they're not really getting hit because they're not technically selling the token because they have a tax. So any tax tokens that are out there for selling might be something to eyeball right now at these levels.
Yeah, because their last hit the routing and the pools if they got taxed, right?
Yeah, they have to go like up 5% before the arbs will even touch them. So I mean, you got what are the tax tokens out there? You got Queen Pui, got to throw that one out there. You got Super Stake Hex, you got pTGC, a lot of old school ones. Yeah, I think the only one that's really got a lot of liquidity that's tied to pDAI is that pTGC. So, but I think that they were having a group discussion today about what to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's risk management is what it is. And I think that they're doing a good job coming together to have that conversation.
Do they have burnt liquidity?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I do.
So how do you fix something like that?
You don't. You don't.
You have to.
You
No.
don't.
You
can't.
have to. You
Good
could.
From the
answer.
You
furniture.
can.
You can.
Technically, if we all were one hive mind and could somehow get every single person to act together,
Swap.
there you could move the liquidity. But again, unfortunately we can't just all like hook up to a hive mind and 100% all of us agree to come together on this.
Yeah, I was on the call
You
with
can do it
them
from
earlier.
benefits.
Maddie, if you could also check what I messaged you on Twitter.
I was on the group video call with the TGC guys earlier, like the group, and everyone was discussing it, and like the sentiment was basically like, obviously the volatility of pDAI moving up and down is good for the people providing liquidity because they're earning fees, but like in the long run, obviously, and this was before like it was 100% confirmed, even though I knew it was confirmed myself personally, a lot of the people in the group were still like on the fence, like maybe they were talking about the auctions and stuff like that could happen in 10 days or 20 days, whatever. But like the I basically said to them, I was like, guys, like you're literally basing this auction thing or basing like the future of your projects or the health of your project on something that some anon guys on Twitter are basically talking about, and you don't even know if it's real or not. Like you really need to think about that. And
And to your point, panels, when you look at their little website where it tells you how long it's going to be until the auction, they keep changing the goalposts and
right,
it shows and then it doesn't show. So, for example, yesterday it said it was going to be 30th of March and now it's not showing when I go on the website. So it's just, to me, it's just a fugazi. They're just making up the fucking date whenever they
of
want.
course. But anyway, towards the end of that call, the PTGC guys were basically in the same mind. Like, yeah, we should de-risk. Or anyone that's providing liquidity with pDAI should think about de-risking it, and then we can assess the situation. But now I think it's pretty clear that they're probably going to remove the LP over the next little bit of time, and yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be.
So has anybody talked to the fire whale?
Tried to.
Isn't he
Yeah.
buying right now? Isn't he buying pDAI? Or
Try,
was that yesterday?
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah,
A lot of people have said to de-risk SolidX from pDAI because there's a lot of it bonded in liquidity, and he bought more pDAI. So I don't know what to say.
yeah, he actively. I mean, he's again. The most we can do is to continue to just shove it down people's throats, I guess, and until they get it. Like you said, I mean, we can say it for like the 10th time. I would also like to say, I mean, again, you should be. I don't want to tell people to sell their bags or buy their bags, but removing liquidity is the best thing you can do. Any liquidity tied with pDAI, and kind of just what we've been saying for the past 3 days.
Yeah, and Habibi, even the guys who have big positions in that protocol have been asking the same thing, and they've not been listened to, and they've been told to sell their bags. So that tells you enough. It's just like, all right, fair enough. GG's, game over.
Oh, it's down 50K today. Yes, he still got 300K worth of liquidity tied up with DAI.
What's
Are
the
any of
total?
Firewhale's pools burned? If anybody knows, I don't know off the top of
No,
my
no,
head.
they're not. They're not.
Yeah, okay, so he could pull it at any time. Okay.
Yeah, he could. Yeah,
What's the total amount of liquidity with pDAI?
I know at one point it was towards the 500K mark, but I'd have to have a look on the wallet. Abdul might know.
You know,
Sorry.
I was thinking it might be a strategic play because if he's the only liquidity provider for pDAI, he's got his free tokens there, and he can just milk that liquidity up and down, up and down, up and down.
Well, no, receiving pDAI? You saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, he would have been better
Because
off.
the seller would just sell into SolidX and then sell SolidX into Ink because it's also highly
Yeah.
bonded to Ink, so Ink would get fucked as well.
And Ink is connected to Pulse, and Pulse is connected to Pulse X. It's like, yeah, it needs to be segregated to no core tokens in any way, right? So, like,
Well,
if pDAI is just connected to DAI from Ethereum and nothing else, it won't hurt us. But past that, and it sucks down the chain.
But on to that point as well, right? So not only is SolidX got like 200K's worth of liquidity with pDAI, and that's just on V2, excuse me, PulseX, but also it's got just as much with pWBTC, which right now has huge amounts of liquidity to pDAI. And then he's got quite a lot of Ink there as well. I think that's the number one liquidity pool is with Ink. So that is going to drag and pull that down with Hart's Law, drag this ship down basically. Looking at it now, I think he's got about 400K with pDAI with
300.
SolidX. 300, yeah.
I think him and Randy Hilarski, Randy's I think jumping on ship with him. You know, when you posted that space 2 days ago, he was in the space when
Yeah, and we said it, bro. We said whilst he's in the space, we said you need to pull the liquidity. This is like everyone should be pulling their liquidity with pDAI.
Lots of people have talked to him, but there's starting to be a different kind of push. And good, we have some 9-inch team guys here. Like if there's farms like the farms on Fucks and 2Fucks that have incentivized pDAI liquidity in the past, then maybe they could be not farms anymore. If 9-inch also had an option like that, that would be cool.
Well, I can speak to Hexy about it. I mean, I'm not part of the team anymore, just to make that quite clear. But getting a response from devs and stuff has been difficult enough for Hexy, from what I hear. So,
Hey,
good luck.
Maddie, do you want to try to have pro pDAI people up here? People that still believe in pDAI? There's
Yeah,
a guy trying
and
to come up named
if there are
Housing.
speakers and they haven't said anything yet, now's your chance. Otherwise, you're gonna get moved down. Yes, no,
Yeah,
maybe.
somebody named
Gabrielle.
Housing trying to
Yeah,
come up.
go ahead. Go ahead and say something. Yes, no, maybe. Otherwise, we'll take you down.
Well, I was just wondering about, how the guy's minting again, and is everything that everybody in here, do you guys think that all mintable PRCs that got copied over, they are all compromised?
No, they're not
No.
all compromised. Just the ones with smart contract functions that are fucked, like Gnosis, pDAI, etc.
Well,
Yeah, I haven't looked at Gnosis myself yet, so I'm not sure.
yeah,
Somebody
But
because
said that
yeah,
well,
GNO was being
the argument.
exploited. No.
yeah, somebody is doing it. Yeah, I haven't looked at if he's doing the same exact thing or how similar it is.
Right.
Correct. So I heard that it is, and everybody is also attacking, the purple Bitcoin, saying that it's going to be the same thing, that it will also be able to get minted because all mintable PRCs that got moved over are all
No, because these
compromised.
are specifically no. These are the reason this guy's able to is because of how PMaker works. pWBTC is mintable through a different way, and from what I understand, it would require the BTC admins to come over here and use their admin keys to be able to mint it. And
Right.
that's something we've always known. I mean, we've always known that. So like to try to
Correct.
FUD BTC and say that it's mintable is for you to believe that they would do that, which they've been able to do that for 2+ years now. I mean, we've always been able to. I mean, we've always been able to know that we could do
Yeah.
So
this.
that's got a different risk than a P copy that does not have admin keys.
Hey, Maddie, can I jump in
So
on that?
admin keys is the question.
But there's admin keys required for their Oracle on pDAI too. But like it's unlikely any of these teams, like be it the pWBTC team or the DAI MakerDAO team, are going to come over to Pulse Chain and do anything. So they are neither stopping the risk nor adding to the risk on these things. But we know that with pDAI, the risk is built into the contract, so it's already here.
So
Yes, perfect.
the argument for the pegging of pDAI was also the argument for the pegging of the purple BTC, right? So
No.
how would you guys who are or are we just memeing it? Is it just going to be a meme or is it going to
Well, I
be
think
one to
that's.
one? Is that the idea?
I
They
mean,
both were
that's
memes.
the question that I've been asking the community from. I mean, again, you guys can continue to chill pDAI, sure. Again, just bring me a reason to buy pDAI when there's somebody infinitely minting it, and when we know Richard is not the one doing it, and that Richard isn't behind it, because that was what the entire narrative was based off of. The pDAI narrative only got so large because everybody wanted to believe that Richard was behind it, and now that he very clearly isn't. Bring us another reason. Let the pDAI people try to find a real narrative. Again, it can always stick as a meme, but as long as we stick it as a meme and as long as we provide liquidity with it, we're actively hurting the chain. And Richard is actively telling us not to buy it.
I could provide some insight on the WBTC if you want, Maddie.
Go for it.
Yes, please.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead. And then after that, I'll explain like what a good example of a P copy looks like, where we can vampire millions from Ethereum onto our chain. Go ahead with pWBTC.
so pWBTC, it's just absolutely 100% risk. There's no doubt about it, especially when we were discussing earlier how it was a direct fork and no one changed the underlying assembly code before the fork, which means all the keys are the same, which means that the key to minting, the admin key to minting WBTC, like between chains, is stored somewhere on a central server. So whoever said earlier that, yeah, that they would have to come over to the chain and use it is absolutely right. And in my opinion, especially with this big pDAI blowing up, people are going to be start looking for these keys left and right all over the world.
Yeah, but BTC has it's a Gnosis safe, so it's gonna take multiple wallets and keys.
Whatever, yeah, may very much possibly. I actually wanted to ask your opinion, Maddie, on the Vietnamese guy. The address and stuff wasn't up. I got a screenshot of it, but it wasn't up. They took it down. I was wondering if anyone actually tried to look him up. I couldn't find his name, and the address leads not to a residence that they said it was, but it's just like some community service in some District 9, like a place, like a DMV type
We shouldn't
place.
talk about this guy's address. It really doesn't matter what this guy's information shouldn't have been put out
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
not going to
public in
mention
the
it,
first
definitely.
place.
Yeah, Matt, but since you mentioned the Vietnamese guy, that's why I raised my hand. So, I mean, that's a question I have.
Well,
Has anyone
I
looked
can
up the
tell
stuff?
you, I can tell you that Motley offered to have lunch with him tomorrow. and the offer is still outstanding. So like we were saying in the Twitter spaces a couple days ago, hey, if the exploiter is listening, why don't you send all the free pDAI to, like, you know, cool people in the community instead of just dumping it on our heads? And so I'll say again now, if the exploiter is listening, go have lunch with Motley tomorrow.
Is that Mali in Vietnam, I guess?
Yo, we got all the Americans getting ready to invade Vietnam again. Let's go.
Oh, someone's traveling to
Yeah,
Vietnam
you guys didn't want to get drafted there, but all of a sudden you want to go now?
for your pDAI.
Imagine this guy just planning it. His grandma got freaking
No.
back in the day.
So
But I looked up his address. It
so
doesn't. It's not a real address. Doesn't look like. Who
well
said the video was
that
fake? How is the
Yeah,
video fake?
go ahead.
Well, I mean,
How's
someone
the
said the
video
video was
fake?
fake. Does anyone know what the reasoning behind that is?
nobody said
So,
the video was fake.
Or
People are trying to say that the video is fake. I don't know if it is or not. Again, I don't think it matters if it is or not. Again,
what would
this
be a
like
reasoning
I
why?
don't know why.
Like
The
AI?
996
I
wallet
don't
was
know.
right
I'm
in the
not
right
even.
hand corner. Like the 996 wallet that was known that I've been watching Mint, it was right in the right hand corner. It shows. I mean, it would, in my opinion, it would be hard to fake that video because it looks pretty
I
convincing to
also
me.
I don't know. I'm just telling you again. We were asking for what I've been hearing people in the community try to call the video fake.
Did
Yeah, it's
they
just
anyone
I
poke.
don't
offer
know.
any
Just
reasoning specifically,
more cope.
yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
poke.
or was it just openly saying it's fake? No one really said
Well, there
why.
was a question mark in Richard Hart's tweet where he said "sell pDAI?" question mark. So
Yeah, because
Yeah, I
obviously
don't
you
know.
want to
I
gotta
tell
mean,
people what
question
to
Richard,
believe,
this
right?
everything.
we could actually be
Yeah.
getting 9D chats by Richard right now. Richard was actually never Richard. He was actually just the Vietnam gambler. And the sack bags are actually just going to be all deposited on stake.com, and he's going to put it all in black, and he's going to
Black
double
or red,
and
let's
he's going to
go.
buy ink. If it's got to be
Fucking
black.
roll it.
Listen,
Which one
listen,
is
guys. I've
it?
gambled. I've gambled with money game crypto. Not the guy you want to be gambling with, bro. Oh my
Right.
god, dude, this
Yeah, well,
this guy's the reverse oracle,
you
bro.
guys wanted to play slots. I wanted to play other stuff. I was better at freaking blackjack. Come on.
What do you mean? You got by the way, this
Oh
guy
yeah,
we
those
ran up a
streams.
balance of
You and the boys wanted to
This
play
was
freaking
no,
online.
slots.
you hit, bro. You kept doubling, dude. We went from $50 hand to $1,000 hands, by the way, with this guy, bro. It did not end well.
If
Yo,
you
I
ain't
remember that
doubling down,
stream.
you're a pussy.
Yo, this just in. Somi clipped in again. So Maddie, he's giving you exit liquidity. So just ready up.
What, Sommy's buying again?
He's buying again, bro.
Oh shit,
He's
bro.
pumping the.
I posted the chart up there, so I mean he should buy it up to that level.
Yeah,
It's in the chat.
yeah. He should for everybody to get out. That sounds good. He should. You're right.
So
He should. He
so
should buy it
look,
up there for everyone to.
the original plan with the P copies was to vampire attack coins on Ethereum. So I can easily explain very quickly like what that would look like now that it has never successfully happened. And we're almost 2 years in.
The
So
floor is yours.
the Methuselah Foundation, they got 60% of a token called Doge Elon Mars on Ethereum because it was sent to Vitalik during COVID, and like Vitalik was like, screw this coin. It was in his mom's multi-sig address, so it took him a long time to sell it. The token became a huge hit among longevity fans, which there are actually people like that. There were like 300,000 holders, and so a pretty good sized community sprung up around this dog token. So I convinced them at the Bitcoin conference to take custody from Coinbase. Vitalik had trapped their coins in Coinbase, much like the pDAI is trapped in Coinbase for another longevity foundation that I work with that has 300 million pDAI. It used to be worth $6 million. Now it's probably worth like less than $500,000. But
They
back
could
to
still
the
sell that
Elon
though, right?
token. Well, it's trapped on there still.
Oh
But
shit.
the point is that so it's a playbook that's happened before with these coins getting stuck on Coinbase, then Coinbase eventually like, you know, gives them out. So I convinced the Methuselah Foundation to take custody of their Elon tokens before the Pulse Chain fork. And then they over the counter traded their 60% stack on Ethereum, you know, at the bottom as foundations do. And so, so that's a perfect example of a coin where you have about 10 or 12 million dollars sitting in a liquidity pool on Ethereum between what we would call Elon and Ethereum. And so all we would have to do is go in with these tokens and basically attract 2.5% of the holders of Elon to pair their coins with their Elon copy, and, you know, pay them in Elon or Inc or whatever. Once you get 2.5% of token holders to come play and bond their liquidity, well, now you get to extract that whole, let's call it $5 million worth of ETH. They can be, you know, traded from the P copy to the straight to the Ethereum liquidity pool. So that's an example of what it would look like to successfully pull off a P copy heist, is what I would call it.
Question for that. That if that were to happen, so let's say that they were bridged over, and then they would, you know, bond the liquidities and all that. Wouldn't it be like one side over the other, kind of like a tug of war, where who would try to take from one chain to the other the faster? Wouldn't that kind of event happen?
Well, the current copy is so worthless. There's only $5,000 of liquidity. So it's kind of a perfect setup because you have 60% of the supply of the P copy. You can make the P copy more rare than the E copy easily. And yeah, so I think it's the perfect setup to, yeah, quickly. I mean, if you had one whale that had 2.5% of supply, you could just sit down with them and decide it. But that's probably not like a good free market thing. So maybe you want to just make an announcement. But the Methuselah Foundation has a huge pull with those 300,000 Elon holders on Ethereum. They already have them plugged into their social network. So yeah, it's just really good game theory, and I need feedback on it because I'm probably going to do it soon.
I think you should go all out. I think, you know, anything in that idea, because even though the thing is happening with pDAI, I totally believe that we haven't seen. It's not because we haven't seen a successful pDAI world biggest airdrop, you know, kind of parody work. I don't think it's because we haven't seen it yet. It's not going to happen. And also, I know you guys were talking about.
Well, yeah, like the big idea here is not about the $5 million. It's about the idea that once you prove that it's possible to the rest of crypto, then you get the Bitcoin guys coming in providing liquidity, right? Because they want the free money. So yeah, so I think that's the big idea there, is that any P copy that doesn't have an admin key, or maybe if it does and people look into it enough, that would be a potential market to basically vampire attack the Ethereum that's sitting there. And what are they going to do about it? Except the liquidity providers can pull their liquidity, but the holders, they're the ones who really dictate everything. And you only need a small minority of holders in order to take over a liquidity pool, because liquidity pools are typically only 5% of the total value. And so you really only need half of that in order to take that over. And I think that if we had a successful example of that, that we could leverage into bigger and bigger plays.
I like that. I think that, you know, let me know how it goes, because and I want to see, you know.
Thanks. Yeah, we've been talking about it for like 4 years. So yeah, I would like to see how it goes too.
Could be a thing.
And so I heard.
What other what?
I,
Yeah, go
no,
ahead.
I was just hearing before because I just got in and maybe I missed a part of it. But so the purple BTC, apparently there's admin keys to that because it's wrapped or something.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
guys on
Yeah.
Ethereum have the admin keys. So, but they'd have to
Yeah,
come
who is it?
over and turn it
Bitcoin?
on. They probably won't do that, but it's not zero risk.
Okay. Because to me, if it wasn't for that, to me, I thought like that would be the biggest win if we could actually like push up pWBTC because
What's the
BTC is the
price of
biggest
that
name in
right now?
crypto.
What price is it at right now? Out of curiosity.
214, $214.
It's very tied to pDAI, which is the reason that the price dipped dramatically.
Yeah.
it was down to 100 last night. That was crazy.
But right now, like if you buy things that are tied to pDAI, you're helping pDAI, to be clear, right? So
Right.
depending what your motivation is, but if you if you buy a pWBTC to $500, like you're pulling pDAI up with it. So think of your goals.
That's why I asked about what the future is for burnt liquidity tokens connected to pDAI.
I just hope that we don't continue to do it. I mean, it is what it is. What's already been done. But as long as we can, I mean, again, all we can do now at this point is basically ask people that currently have pools to pull them, and to ask people not to make future pools, because you will be just funding
Well, it
somebody's
doesn't.
stake account.
If there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of burnt liquidity between anything, let's say wrapped purple Bitcoin and pDAI, if pDAI has an infinite inflation bug, doesn't that mean that wrapped BTC also has an infinite inflation bug?
Yes, you're correct. Anything that's not a native token on the Ethereum network would potentially have an inflation bug. So
And that's
that
not
all those tokens would have to mint and burn.
Oh, the wrap token
but
is
again,
more of just
there's only
minting freely on demand.
Yeah, but there's a function that does the minting and
Yeah.
burning.
I mean, someone has to
And that's
have
the
a
same
key.
problem we have with stable coins.
So
Because
is
It's
this
less
bug?
secure and complex and easier than the pDAI thing to mint it.
Yes. So
if it's a native token, you'll be fine.
see the staked ETH copy, the ST ETH. There's a mint function on that too, right? It's like, I don't know how much it is a day, but there's someone minting a certain amount of it per day. Is that like the same guy, or could that just be anybody?
I think I know who it is, actually. I'm not going to say their name, but it's the same thing that happened with
that could be
pLUSD.
anybody.
I don't think it's the Vietnamese guy, if that's what you're asking.
There's a lot of guys playing with
But
the
yeah,
functions.
they're all just looking at the contracts and reading them. I mean, doing the same thing, trying to figure out every single time, like the pLUSD and the PTRB, because they're connected to the oracles. Very similar situation to what they're saying is happening to pDAI. You know, you read the contracts, you figure out exactly how they're doing it, try to call them out or whatever.
I
Same
mean,
thing
yeah,
happened with
that's again,
Blaster. They were
that's
hiding stuff, infinite mint. Same thing happened with XUSD. They have an infinite mint that they're hiding the minters. These are all last year, so I'm not shilling or anything or talking bad about anything now. These are all like last year, months ago, 6 months, weeks ago. But they're all dangerous, and it's mostly due to inefficient code. You know, like people using different wrong variables. Like, I don't know if you guys know what mappings versus arrays are, but then you can't like check things. But anything that's ported over as well, there's always going to be, and it has some sort of algorithmic utility to it. If it does anything, it's just high risk.
Yeah. Besides that, you got ChatGPT and these things that are able to do coding. And they're really, really big help to find exploits. I mean, I'm literally putting in ChatGPT now, for educational purposes only, because you have to have certain prompts, and it will actually take you through all the functions, where it needs to go, the links. It'll take photos. You can send ChatGPT an image, and it will take all the information from that image, whether it be like a screenshot of somebody's text message or a Reddit, and it will translate everything and it will code everything for you. It's not always right, but
Yeah, I
with
mean, AI
enough
AI is a
coding,
great tool. Everybody, all of us, we should all be. I mean, again, if anybody wants to learn more about this, these tools are there. These tools are out there. We can go. We can all go look ourselves. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, again, Maddie, I think asking the future right now is a little. I think right now we should be focusing on getting people to stop buying pDAI, because again, that only exemplifies the problem. It only amplifies it,
But does
and
that
that's the
mean they
problem.
have to
Is
stop buying everything that's linked to pDAI, like p-wrapped Bitcoin? Question mark.
I think there should be it would be really helpful if we knew a list of all the P copies with or without admin keys. Because to me, what this message is for the past few days is anything that had any admin keys on
yeah,
Ethereum.
but the admin keys are irrelevant. Again, this guy isn't able to mint pDAI because he has admin keys. Again, Richard has always told us to stay away from stuff with admin keys, anyways. Like I said, the major point here is we need to stop buying pDAI.
Yeah.
We need to
So
stop.
He's
when
We need to
actually
stop
able to
telling people
mint
to buy
because
pDAI.
no one has the admin key to stop him, or the person who has the admin key on the on the Ethereum side, I guess doesn't know what's going on, or maybe they do know what's going on. Maybe they're
Well,
behind
no,
it.
we've already addressed this. None of us believe that anybody from the MakerDAO team or the pWBTC team is gonna come on the Pulse chain.
Well, I mean, that's regardless of what we believe. That doesn't mean it can't happen.
Okay, so my question then is, okay, so if it doesn't matter that they have admin keys, is there a way, are there safe P copies that we know for a fact are like maybe less
Sure.
uh
Meme coins.
I mean,
Meme
stuff
coins are
like
great.
Yeah, it
P,
has to
P
be just the
Pepe,
memes.
P Elon, like the meme coin. You can go read all the contracts for all the P copies, and you can buy all the ones without
right,
mints.
but that's what I'm saying. I
It's
feel like we
just
should have maybe for people and like for me who like of course I could go in one after one or the other, but I feel like if we had a list for
no. You know
people.
what? And I agree with you, and I think you're right, and I think that would be a great tool for the community. And I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Lists could be
I'll
done. Good idea.
yeah. I mean, hey, I'm sure a couple of us as these speakers like are willing to come together and try to get a list.
Minter just minted 9 million pDAI.
Just minute more pre-die.
Yep.
Finally,
Well,
for the
yeah,
first
there you
time
go.
in
So,
forever.
Lucky
I
now.
just want to say just one thing for every single pDAI supporter that was saying, "Oh, the minter stopped
Fuck on
minting.
faggot.
Why did the minter? Why isn't the minter minting?" Here you go.
Yeah.
It's almost like we were exactly right. The pDAI minter starts minting as soon as what? Allegedly, as soon as somebody Somi starts buying.
Yep.
All I'm saying is allegedly Somi is aping right now. And lo and behold, like we all said, this
Huh.
guy just knows we're going to continue to give him exit liquidity. And look what he does. As soon as somebody starts aping the chart, he starts minting again.
Well, it's interesting.
Again, how many times does this need to happen?
Right.
The minter, I mean, the minter is here. The minter is literally laughing at us buying pDAI.
No
We're,
fuck.
we're again, we're giving him money to gamble with.
Yeah. No fucking doubt.
Again,
I don't know why he
yeah.
didn't. I don't know why he didn't mint when it was higher on the recovery.
Well, yeah. I mean, who knows?
somebody else
Again,
does.
like again, yeah, he's been watching. I mean, again, we know how much pDAI. Like I said, he was up to like 90 million pDAI that he has access to. A little bit less that he just minted. So if he just minted 9 million, he has 81 million left that he
Right.
has access to that he could mint right
In the
now.
vat. Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, we've been telling people this since morning. Maddie, I know you weren't around for like a lot this morning, but a lot of that was kind of like part of the main pDAI cope was, oh, the minter stopped minting. Why'd he do that as soon as Richard made his tweets or whatever?
Maddie, I got a question
And
for
yeah,
you.
it's clear he's
Sorry,
just waiting for more exit lick.
sorry. Matt, I got a question for you on this specifically. Just because I've been watching you since like 2017, 2018, 19, whenever you started. Way back in the Hex days, way before this. So knowing Richard Hart's personality and, you know what I mean, seeing him talk about his past and the businesses he's created and the examples he's given and the lessons that he's taught and he's, you know what I mean, and then the whole 9 yards. Considering his success in life as a businessman, do you feel that he would have let's assume he's not involved. Let's see. Actually, I'm sorry. Let's start with the preface. Assume it's all a fucking scam and he's not involved. Considering your past and if you're following him, and this is what I'm going based off my two. I'm trying to answer the question myself. I don't have an opinion on it, but it's like a successful billionaire businessman that had all these ventures and stuff wouldn't try to stop this sooner.
Correct. Yes, he
And
wouldn't
see it
know
sooner, but
because
see it because you can see it's like
yeah,
a hostile
he
takeover.
wouldn't know. Right.
You know, he
Right.
would see
Right.
it.
No,
You
wouldn't.
don't think he would see it? That's what you're saying.
No.
So I'm
Maddie,
thinking.
this guy.
So I was thinking. I would
I think he would tell us as soon as he saw something, and that's what he
exactly,
did.
yeah. So for me, it's like when I'm looking at it, if it was my chain, which is obviously now my chain, but we all saw what was going on in 2023 in the beginning, and then throughout 2024, that everything was getting linked to each other, and everyone was even calling it Hart's Law, which is what he coined back in whatever 2017, or when he was, talking about binding everything together. And it's just like everyone else saw it, and like I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't see it.
He saw everything.
Yeah, he did see everything, and
He
He
saw
does
everything.
something called just-in-time security. He's talked about it before. You can go to hexsearch.io, which is made by the Time Pays Me developer, one of them. Hexsearch.io will allow you to look up Richard Hart's opinion on only dealing with the problem when you're just in time to fix it.
this
Yeah,
can't be fixed now, though.
he would have caused
I mean,
a,
if it's
a lot of
It
issues for
can be
himself.
though. Us, if we don't buy pDAI and we pull all our pools with pDAI, then yeah, if we stop buying the
So
charts
let's
that this
talk
guy's
about
buying
this.
and
Yeah.
selling.
What happens if people don't listen and Sami leads the rebellion and causes new millionaires to keep buying pDAI?
They're all going
Yeah,
to get
like
wrecked.
I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
that
they're
fixer
just
bot's gonna come into play. Yeah.
No.
Matty, what do you mean by
that's so.
new
So
millionaires?
I think again, that's a thing we have to remember is that there is like Maddie. I'm so glad you brought this up. There is a DEF CON. There is an end all button, and I think, like I said, if we see the fixer bot come into play, I think we will see it come into play if Somi continues to do this. I genuinely think that if
I mean, it's
Somi
there to
continues to
fix
show
stuff.
pDAI,
It's
yeah,
there to
What's the
fix.
fixer bot?
I think we will see I think we will see it come into play, and that would honestly, I mean, that would basically negate all the damage that would be caused. Yes, there would still be some pools that are burnt, but I mean if Richard takes away the ability to, like, I mean, again, all Sami could do at that point is then become the pDAI liquidity, and at
Like,
that point, honestly, if Sami is willing to do that, then Godspeed.
bro, like, listen. The important thing is people need to take their pools down. Like, they need to remove liquidity from the pools, right? Somi and the people who are buying, eventually they're going to stop because they're going to keep getting dumped on, and they're going to run out of money, and they're going to be like, nah,
Literally.
okay. They're going to get to a point where they realize there's no point doing this anymore. So, like, they're going to learn themselves. They're going to burn themselves. They're going to learn themselves. But what's important is to get the liquidity out of the pools. People need to
Yeah,
remove their liquidity.
What's the fixer bot?
I
Someone
genuinely
mentioned.
believe if we saw it's the pDAI pool, the one that happened on launch. But again, what I think if we see Sami stop backing this, I think we will see. I think that would be. I think Sami is. I mean, I think we can all agree. I think Sami is the one leading these people now, and I do think if we see people like Sami step down, I think maybe we see Fire Whale pull his pools. And like I said, I think I think Sami is the final one. And like again, I love Sami, and I'm not trying to hate on him, but like I think the message is written loud and clear for us, and it's just gonna reach others later than some of us that has reached us already. I'm sorry, guys. I've been talking in spaces since like
I just want to say,
4 o'clock my
I, I
time.
was,
You're good.
I,
You're good. That's helpful. Thank you.
I met somebody recently who became a cool friend because we didn't know and we like crypto at the same time. And the first thing he told me about that he got into pDAI, right? With a big stack, like all in, right? and we talked and all that, and we got into different projects together. Welcome to the casino. And I, I told him before even all of that happened. As soon as I heard about the mythic, I'm like, take some profit, watch out while that remove the liquidity, and all that to say that him, like other people that I've kind of looked to the other side. I'm in the pDAI chat, and I went to their Telegram calls, and I went to their like spaces. I think it was yesterday, and a lot of reasonable people in the community, they are definitely backing off, like definitely. Even though Sami, um,
Yes, 100%. I've definitely seen like the crowd of like pDAI people. There's definitely people stepping down 100%. And again, I want to come at this from the perspective is I don't want to see Somi lose his money. He's actively down. Again, I don't know how much, but he's down a lot of money. Again, from
Sami's a
what he's seen,
trader.
at least
So,
yeah, and
About
Sami's a,
600,000.
again, Somi, yeah, hundreds of thousands. And again, Somi's at the end of the day, he's still part of our community, and I don't want to.
yeah, but he's a
Nobody really
trader.
wants to see anybody lose money.
He's a trader. Like his trade, like what I understood about him as I saw him through the spaces, like recently, like that I didn't really see in him before as clearly, is that I feel like we're more crypto. Like if you listen to his story, he's a traditional trader, right? Like if you for 14 years or something like that, I think that's what he said. He was trading. We are more crypto native. He's more trade native. And I think to him, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm 100% wrong, and he'll correct me or whatever the case may be, but I feel like the contrarian move, the return on the return on the investment in case that just the squiggly line go up. Forget about the minting, forget about the technicals, because he says that. Forget about the narrative. He always says dismiss the narrative. People are describing like he's all about trading psychology. So I feel like it's in his bones to do what he's doing right now. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
he was up like in profit on his public wallet earlier today, right? Off of his pDAI trade. So is there more to take into consideration now that he's fallen back down to where he probably was? I mean, he bought the bottom yesterday at like 3 zeros and a 1, right? So
He's
he's not even down now compared to what he bought at.
no,
Oh,
he took a big L and sold the bottom.
yeah, he sold the
Woke up
bottom.
late. I think he woke up late when the sell off went on, and he sold
Yeah,
late and he bought back later. And no, I've been watching his bag. His bag was like, I don't want to dox it, but I think he was down. I think it was down
You guys
40, 50.
posted it in the other space, so that's how I
yeah,
saw it.
Okay, yeah, I think he
yeah.
So
was down
There's
like
you can
40.
again, I
you
don't
can talk about the numbers.
allegedly.
He was down like 40 or
Yeah,
50% before he sold the bottom. So I mean, he's taking an L on this bag big time. He's buying more down here too. So
yeah. I mean, again, yeah. I think I agree with you a little bit. Swami is a little. I mean, he is a trader. We know that about him, right? Again, I don't know too much about his history. Don't quote me on anything, but from what I do know, he was a trader, right? So yeah, like I think he's sipping his own Kool-Aid. I really don't think he's trying to be malicious behind this. I don't think he's just trying to get like again. I think he believes this, which we've all been there. We've all been so stuck in our delusions.
well, looking back,
So
listen, like looking back, I think I see why he's getting so diamond handed right here, right now, on the shakeout of this pullback or whatever you want to call it. Because last trough we had, there was also the mint's not new. Like we saw it back then. Somebody was minting. It was kind of insignificant, but somebody was doing it. It was a lot less. Like, but there's videos of somebody talking about it then. Like he got shaken out then, and he was like he's minted about 60K, dumped on your heads. He was posting about it and everything else. And I think he faded. I think he faded and bought higher on that run if he even bought back in. But so I think that's what's kind of driving his psychology this time. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna get shaken out this time. He's minting whatever. They still ran it up however many X's, 20, 30, 40, 50X. Right. So I think that's playing a factor on his psychology right now.
And also, you guys,
yeah, and I mean again, when you ape that much, I mean when you're so invested financially in something that like and again he aped $1.2 million in at the top
Who?
at three
but
cents.
guys,
Who did?
I just want to give you guys some perspective because I've been following so really like almost religiously for a while. I really try like to get his psychology, and let me tell you some background facts that may help you understand his position. Right? I don't think, even though he speaks a lot about it, I do not believe it is his bigger bags. And if you look at his as what he did in the past cycle, well, all I'm gonna say is nothing personal, no secrets or whatever. It's all if you look at his videos, all that I'm gonna say is public knowledge. Okay, so I'm not doxing, no nothing like that. Okay, he's not working right now because the life cycle he made so much money that he doesn't have to work right now. That's why he's here 18 hours a day or 16 hours a day, making sometimes 3 videos a day like a fucking machine. Because he has so much money that he can put that money in the market for that long and keep DCAing for that long and actually is still not running out of bullets on one end. On the other hand, he has Bitcoin, he has Ethereum. He knew the risk. He explained to everyone in the beginning why Bitcoin is the only one that like essentially performs well in a bear market. He has Bitcoin, he has Ethereum, he has some other coins that I know he has some on Polygon or whatever the case. He has all the core coins. He has, and I don't want to share or whatever, but he has like, we all know like the Pocket Chain, we all know like the derivatives of Hex and all that. Like he has so many coins that yes, at this moment we are hyper focused on pDAI, but I do not believe he is that go all in. My rent money is in there and all that.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's all of his money. I'm saying, I mean, again, we've hundreds of hundreds of thousands, a million plus he's spent on pDAI. And I mean that's a lot of money at the end of the
A
day. If you
million?
think
So you
about
guys are talking about wallets that weren't even part of
it.
your
So there
friend
was
Sami.eth.
yes, there are
Yes,
wallets.
yes.
So there, Maddie, I don't know if you know about this wallet, but there's a wallet that bridged in $1.2 million, aped the top, like aped the 3 cent again, aped at 3 cent pDAI, and then not only pDAI, bought a bunch of like pokey chain stuff and stuff Sami talks about. Basically aped all of his coins, and then if you look at like from a timing perspective, like how Sami's wallets usually act, and if you also look at it, Somi also didn't address the wallet until a couple of days after, which is very unlike him. I mean, especially if somebody fresh bridges in $1.2 million and starts only buying pDAI. You'd think you'd talk about it,
Mm.
especially if you're so again, this wallet isn't confirmed, Somi, but if you look at the facts, it is most likely Somi or somebody associated to him. You know what I mean? Like again, that wallet isn't for sure
Like his
Somi. That again, I'm
parents.
not saying it's Somi.
Could
Yeah,
be his
that
parents.
hopefully maybe
Yo.
yeah. The
Breaking news,
He
breaking
loves
news,
his
breaking news,
parents.
breaking
Yeah,
news,
he's
breaking news.
moving via Arbitrum.
Breaking news, SolidX has removed his fucking LP to SolidX
Fucking
and
finally,
die.
bro.
So
Woohoo!
oh
Thank
my
Is
God.
it's
God,
it
about
because
bro,
fucking
we
it's because
time.
prayed?
he
It was the
he's
prayer that I
listening.
said. That's what it was.
This
It's
this
true. It's true.
space, this
It's
space
about
I
fucking
remember your
time.
prayer. Yeah.
Now
Are
is when it
we
gets
are we gonna see? So are we gonna see
volatile.
Firewhale stop buying pDAI?
Yeah, it'd be
But
matter of time.
We just might, and he should just clip it back into his SolidX. Is what he should do.
Yeah, there we go. He removed. Yep, that's $120,000 of pDAI liquidity removed
Yeah,
from
look
SolidX.
to see if he sells that
Good
off.
work, boys.
But I'd like
GG's.
to touch on something that we talked about before, and I want to hear is everybody. And it may sound blasphemous to some people, but I think it needs to be said. What it looked like to me is this. Just in time. What do you call it, Maddie? Just in time correction.
Yeah, just in time security.
Just in time security. We as a community have all these theories about RH, all of them, and then we share them and we go maybe and we don't know and whatever, but we have all those theories. And what was clear in that moment to me, and it brought back to a lot of moments, is that we almost hold them as certainty sometimes, and we're so open to them on some level. And what was clear to me is that we are a huge community. If we include all the small ecosystems on Pulse Chain, humongous, and he's not seeing everything. He clearly did not see everything all the
But if
time.
you pray, it was proven by Crash. If you pray, he will hear you.
Right.
I want to hear what Funding Jim has to say.
Yes.
Hold on. He's got his hand up.
Hello,
Hallelujah.
Gary.
Yeah, part of the mystique of crypto is watching wallets, right? It's like, look, this whale is doing this pleb did that. Top blast sold the bottom, like the whole narrative around watching, right, on a public blockchain. That also fed into the positive that the OA wallet never sold hex, the marketing element, when it's a public participation chain of Ethereum, that any wallet could be the same actor, any wallet, anonymous, go through Tornado Cash, undoxed, whatever you want to call it. And it's the same thing here on this chain. We watch wallets because they're watchable. Like, we can see them. If you take the time and you go through it, like I see MGC and other spaces covering, like, we watch them because what, people can't go to to dollar and then come back in with a different address. They only have a few addresses. Like, the people that are relatively big in any chain, there, and Sumi covers this too, you can be it just happens with VCs as well. You can be publicly holding millions of dollars of something or buying up a chart and be seen as doing that while you're dumping from other bags. So this idea that everything is that the OA is doing with the 300 million worth of public, viewable, watchable money, that's an animal that you think is domesticated, you bring into your house and can be ferocious. You don't know. So, like, even when we attribute and say Richard is doing this, it's Greg the Duck, it's the OA, all that kind of stuff. The new guys, I'm relatively new because I've only been here 8 years, not 15, like a lot of other people have gone through a lot of cycles. But, like, you don't know what they are doing. You don't know what I am doing. You don't know what MGC is doing. You just believe in narrative. And I'm not saying that positive or negative, but like the open viewer can see what Somi is doing, and we talk about it, and you don't know the other side of the trade. You just hope that the person that you see on camera is the person you meet and share a beer with later. It's the same thing with Richard. I've spent time with Richard. I know that Maddie has spent time with Richard and had a lot of personal contact with Richard above and beyond what's known publicly. Like, these are people, and they put an image to their mother that is different than the image to their crypto followers, that is different to their next door neighbor. Even the guy that was on the original Hex website, the two guys, what was it? Starts with the B. I forgot his name. And the biggest footer back in the day. There was only three names on the Hex website. Dan Elmers, or Dan whatever his name was. Dan and I forgot the other guy, the British guy. Anyways, you don't see them because you don't know what they're doing. And I'm not saying that negatively. I'm just saying that's the nature of our speculative stickiness. What is the crowd doing? Am I in the middle of the stampede? Am I going over the cliff? Am I in the front and leading this group over the cliff? Am I going to greener pastures? Like, that's the game of influence that is inside of this. We attribute characteristics to avatars. We say that guy is this or that, and we attribute the same psychology to the person you share a beer with or have a dinner with. We are, as human beings, very selective about what facet we reveal to anybody. And it's the same with our wallet watching habit and addiction. Uh, you don't know what's happening on the other side. You don't know what assets they have. You don't know their size. You don't know their future interest. Yeah, it's just it's a narrative that it goes through all these spaces of like wallet watching stuff. Whether it's the whale, fire whale, a god whale, or whatever. That's the public stuff. We do not know the rest.
Hey, Maddie, I'm going to step down, let someone else come up. But just want to say it was good beating you, man. Been watching you for years. And if you have any dev questions,
Likewise.
if you have any dev questions, feel
Yeah.
free to reach out. It goes for anyone as
Oh,
well.
hey, thanks.
All
Yeah.
right.
I followed you, and I would recommend to anybody who's listening to follow the speakers here on the panel. Thanks for coming up, guys.
Appreciate it. Anyone else with dev questions, feel free to DM me. Have a good night, guys.
Good night, sir.
That seemed, yeah, that seemed, yeah. Good night.
So, is there anyone here that still believes in pDAI? Curious.
Yeah,
We got
they're in the comments
Esky.
right now.
Esky's here.
I
Oh
need to
yes.
answer that.
Sorry, I didn't see you there, bro.
Sorry.
Man like Esky.
Esky's been buying the bottom.
I'm waiting for like an answer on the
Ashki, talk
question
to us, bro.
about that, but I think it's speculation still until like 3 questions are answered in my head about it. It's either got to be a big plan, which may be off the wall. I know I was leaving. Sorry. It's either a big plan from the start. The code says that it's either a big plan from the start, and it's an off the wall plan. Maybe it's a 99% chance that it's not that. Or there's a 1% chance that it's a plan. But the code also says that it's either that or everyone knew from the start in the beginning that it was always
I think
from the beginning. That it's
I
not an
think
exploit that was just
RH
found.
I think RH or whoever launched Pump Tires, I think they put more thought into the idea that DAI that is a JPEG ticker could peg. I think more thought was put into that than like the P maker stuff.
100%. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, maybe
Richard,
subtly
yeah,
getting.
Richard definitely didn't,
So
And
now,
Richard
that's
definitely
now
to
wasn't
say
believing that
that's to
people were
say
gonna,
not much. That's to say not much.
that's
yeah.
like how that's trolling, yeah, trolling, yeah. Okay.
No,
Well,
that's
I like
probably for real.
JDI.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
I
Jedi
like
has a better
JDI.
chance to peg than pDAI. So,
What is it called? JDI?
yeah.
JPEG?
JPEG.
Sami
JPEG
named
die.
it
JPEG die.
after
Okay.
JPEG because we can't call it pump die because that's like P die all over again.
Yeah, we don't.
Confusing.
I guess maybe we
We,
could call it new pDAI.
we got to rebrand pDAI. It's pump die and
Yeah,
Right.
it's fool's
old.
die.
We have old die. Yeah, we have
Because
old die
Die
and new
classic.
pDAI.
well, the
Die
Ethereum
classic.
die, they're giving up their names. So this is a really critical opportunity. They're going to be
What?
called Sky, and die is up for grabs, basically.
Pump
I mean,
die.
think about it this way: the same way we used to call ehex and phex. Phex is just hex now. Hey, I mean, pDAI and you have JPEG die. Maybe one day
Brute
we'll be just calling
force.
it
Yeah.
pDAI.
Yeah. I
Yikes.
personally been calling it pump die and fool's die. No more fool's die.
I like that. The fool's die. The Somi
Fool's
die.
die sounds
I feel
cool.
like honestly we could call it S die in order of in honor of Sami, bro, because he's keeping it alive right now.
Yeah, he's going down with the shape
Right.
hard.
He's staked.
Yeah,
We'll call it
it's
Believe
going
in
down.
something.
I want to jump in real
Believe.
quick and say I think the pDAI thing is going to die ultimately when people see that these
Breaking
auctions.
news. I'm sorry, not
Go
to
ahead.
cut you off.
Go ahead.
We have 9 Iron Capital saying RH is the exploiter. I believe I don't know. I
Shut
don't know.
up,
So
Ryan.
Amazing.
I
Amazing.
honestly
Sounds
I'd like to
bullish.
preface this
Honestly, this
with
guy's
I
a
don't know.
Sounds
faggot.
bullish.
Yeah,
Richard Dom.
I
I
don't
hope
know too
so.
much about 9 Iron Capital. From what I do know, he is the main pusher behind like he's who the pDAI people like to call their main like devers, right? Isn't he like the main guy that comes up with these
Yeah,
things?
Him
yeah.
and
Yeah,
Maria.
he is.
Yeah, okay. You have 9 Iron Capital right now saying RH is the exploiter.
Yeah,
So
I'm
Look.
not surprised.
just
I
to
can
break it
only
down for
imagine.
anybody.
Look,
I'm not
look,
surprised.
if there's ever a problem with Hex, I'm going down with the ship and I'm
I
gonna
could
explain
imagine.
any kind of cope that is,
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be
but
Charlie,
but
like
listen,
showing you with
let me be honest here, guys. Here are the facts right now. You have the main pDAI guy, 9 Iron Capital, and Somi's now saying it too. By the way, Somi's saying it's rumored, but you have 9 Iron Capital
God.
of
saying that
course.
the
Of course.
exploiter is 100% RH. This same exploiter that has been linked to a Vietnamese degenerate gambler, this same exploiter that deployed a smart contract that links to a scam Indian telegram and that leads to a scam bot, which I'm not even going to say the name because I don't recommend anybody goes and
Can you
runs it
pin this,
because
by
it
the way,
probably
Habibi?
drains you. Yeah. Hold on, let me share it. I just shared it to the space. But yeah, currently, if anybody that's still in pDAI, if you don't believe this is as wrecked as it gets, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but if your
Well,
guys' main story now is that RH is the exploiter,
It's
yeah,
over.
It
Liquidity.
happens. Yeah. So go ahead. We had Kevin R speaking before the breaking news. We
Yes,
always
I'm
want
sorry.
to
I didn't mean
we
to cut
always
you off.
want to have the breaking news. The breaking news is good. We appreciate that. Keep doing that. But
Scammer
for
minting.
now, Kevin R, go ahead.
Yes,
Just real
scammer.
quick, the fucking death knell of this is going to be when the auctions don't happen, because the like 9iron, they're all hanging on to that these auctions are going to happen, and then that supply is going to start decreasing. It's not going to happen. So when they see that supply is going to keep increasing, and the exploiter is going to keep exploiting, there is no out after that. Like, it's game over. And so more liquidity will be pulled, and it's pDAI
Right.
is going to
Like
pDAI.
Firewhale. Firewhale just did that.
Awesome. That's good. It's going to keep
Yep.
once the auctions don't happen and the debts aren't. I mean, the outstanding PDI is not falling. It's
I
still
think the
growing.
P Minter's doing it again. He's minting again.
Yeah, exactly. These auctions aren't going to happen. It's busted.
I sincerely hope that all of the people who believe in pDAI migrate to another thing on Pulse Chain that allows them to keep having their belief, because I don't
Well,
think that the belief that something can do a 20,000x or whatever it is, I don't think that that's a bad thing for crypto. I think that the fact that there was an exploit and then there was no way out of the narrative, I think that was mostly the problem here. And so I really do hope that they migrate to anything, whether somebody does an airdrop to them and gives them a token that cannot have an infinite mint bug. That'd be cool. That'd be a solution. There are ways to go about clinging on to something without bringing the entire chain down with you.
it's also a time for the entire community to double down and realize how strong and powerful narratives can be, but to realize the reason every single one of us is in this space and part of the Richard Hart ecosystem is because we know what a top G is, and we know
Yeah,
there will be a day where we're going to Valhalla, but we have to stop buying garbage with admin keys. Anything, if it has an admin key, don't fucking buy it. Double down and buy Richard Hart core coins. That
hell
is,
yeah.
everyone got wrecked. That was in pDAI. I had a bunch of pDAI. Lots of people got wrecked, but we're all on the fucking Richard Hart team here. And you got to sit down and think and take a step back. Risk management is protecting your capital. If you don't have capital left, you're done. You're out of the game. There's no coming back. Right now, we're at all-time lows. This is the most opportunity you guys are ever going to have. If you think Richard is, we're done,
For
you're
Pulse
crazy.
Chain,
Exactly, on
for
Pulse Chain.
the PLS ticker. Yeah.
Double down on all Richard Hart cores now. $100 a week. Like, go fucking DoorDash. Those DCAs are so powerful. You're gonna have more coins now, and in 1 year from now, 2 years, fuck. Richard Hart's long term. This may take 4 more years, but it's gonna happen. So just use this as a learning. You guys, even if you lost money on this, what it is, it's your tuition. It's your tuition to learn how this shit works and to learn how to make it. You
Right.
gotta get fucking wrecked a few times. And pDAI was the perfect example of how powerful a narrative can be. It was like the one, like so much hype, it was always there. So now you know when the next one comes along that you, if you want to fuck around with it, go ahead. But keep it to a tiny, tiny percentage, 1-2% of money you don't care if you lose.
I
But right now, everyone's got to double down, and we got to make the change strong and use these opportunities of a lifetime to buy these dips.
let's do a list. We said that before, and I think a safe list for all the P copies, because no, not every guarantee, not like a minority of people are going to check if things are mintable or whatever the case may be. I'm down to give my time and effort to this. So if there's anybody that, because I don't know much about how to figure that out, but if there's anybody, I see Pulse.
Yeah, I think look, Pulse Coin
Yeah,
List,
exactly.
they're known for making lists of coins, believe it or
Right.
not. They make lists of coins like the 19 JPEG tickers that were associated
I
with the Pump Tires launch. There's a way to easily see that list, so I don't see why they couldn't be asked to see if they want to make a list like that.
I'm actually working on getting a list of all of them right now. So I'll even just send it to them so they can publish it.
That's so
That'd be
cool.
great because
You guys,
sounds,
you guys
yeah.
rock. You guys rock.
Because the problem sometimes you say like, hey, just make sure that there's an admin keys. Like, who knows how to do that? I don't know how to do that, right? So like, but if there's a list and people can just go to it, I think that was it's proactively saving people from wrecking themselves.
No, I do website design, so if you need something, I can throw something up too.
Hey, somebody's got to
Yeah,
step down so I can get Pulse Coin List up here.
I'll step down. I gotta crash anyways. Good night, guys. Great space.
Yeah, I'm gonna step
good
down
night.
too, guys. I'm
Thanks for
glad to be here.
joining. Hey, thanks for joining, guys. You guys rock. I
Take care.
really
Bye bye.
appreciate all the hours you put into this. It
No worries,
rocks.
man. Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys. Bye.
Where's KR? We need a prayer.
We
Yeah,
can
I got
pray.
a prayer
I've
music.
said
You ready?
we can pray and we should because it's good content and because KR is asleep. And I pray that KR is getting good REM sleep and deep sleep right now.
Dude, Maddie Allen is just clip farming us right now, bro. It's over.
What's
You are
up,
all the product
Pulse
now.
Coin List?
What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? What an interesting time to be on Pulse Chain, huh?
I feel
Yeah.
bad for people who have lost, but I really hope that we can come out of this stronger than ever.
I think you said something really interesting just a minute ago when I joined. You said people really want to believe. And I think the pDAI situation really showed that people really wanted to believe a narrative. They're desperate for it, which is totally fine, right? And and even like the discussion on other P copies and so on. So something to consider with all of the P copies is, sure, there might be some that could be exploitable and all of that. You kind of have to look into each individual contract and see how the minting function work and so on. But then there's also probably some pools out there somewhere that got copied over that potentially have that P copy still in there that could also be exploited. I believe all of those opportunities have been already taken, but that's also still something that could be something.
Right.
Um,
So are there tags that can be added to the information on your site now, or when Habibi or others are able to get that list that they're compiling? Is there some way that the community can be better informed about admin keys and risks like in pDAI?
And
uh,
mintables, yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely, and we actually did it a couple of days ago where we queried all tokens based on tags, based on pretty much quick intel, pretty much figuring out, are they mintable, are they not mintable, and I've done it on just quickly just to check on like 7,000 wallets, 7,000 tokens, and 99% was just bullshit, and I just took like they were all rugs that happened. It wasn't necessarily
Yeah.
P copies, but it was pretty much everything. So the signal to noise ratio is quite high here, but there's definitely a way where we can just like any token that reaches, I don't know, 100K market cap and stays more than 3 days alive or something, we'll run an automatic check or just do it right from the beginning. That's definitely possible. But then
That would
also, I
be
mean,
so cool. That'd be
yeah,
so
That's actually
cool.
what I'm doing right now is I'm actually just writing a script to do this for me. It would take so long to do this manually. But
yeah.
yeah, I just need the right parameter because again, if I like what he said, if I just have it run and try to get I'll just have a bunch of 99% of it will just be yapped.
Yeah. So I would even say to check out Cursor. That helps you a lot with like doing those one-off things. Um, I mean, also one point to mention, and it kind of happened today is
How does
also,
somebody do that? How does somebody use Cursor to figure something
oh
out?
yeah. So for anyone that is really into like fooling around and wants to potentially build or just to kind of like build in Web3 or even in Web2, I would really highly recommend Cursor. So there are a couple of tools out there that are more for non-technical individuals, like Bolt.new, for instance. It's ChatGPT interface, and you basically say, "Hey, here's an API from, I don't know, Pulse CoinList or CoinMarketCap. Please do this query to query all tokens and give me this result and create a nice one-page website." And that thing can essentially do it on the fly right away, with a single shot prompt. But in many instances with tools like Bolt or any other no code, low code slash AI tools, can't necessarily build something substantial. So that's why Cursor is kind of like the step further towards being closer to the code where you could essentially build something. So for instance, in this example, what you could do is you could download Cursor. It's totally free. You could opt in into the $20 a month plan, which allows you to use Sonnet 3.7 or even Sonnet 3.7 Max, which is kind of like the best model encoding at the moment and not fully released to the public, only available in Cursor. And you could essentially, get access to some APIs. There are tons of APIs out there that essentially give you pulse chain data. For instance, Moralis, shout out to them, they're awesome. Or Quick Intel, or anyone else. And you can write, and you can essentially, being a non-technical individual, you could basically say, hey, take this API. Um, uh, Here's a list of addresses, or take this API, give me all addresses that are currently on. Well, for instance, here we go, even better. You take the deck screener API, you basically say, hey, give me all tokens on Pulse Chain that have more than $100 of volume. That does a query. Then you say, okay, cool, save them in a file. Now access another API to say, okay, now look at each individual address and tell me if they have a minting contract or not a minting contract. And voila, you have it pretty much, right? You could either save it in a file, or you could essentially say, hey, just give me a one page website where I can essentially do that. And I know we have a lot of builders on Pulse Chain, especially, like doing a one-page site and so on. And this is a perfect tool for that. And even growing beyond that and essentially building something more complex. Even I see Fast Duelist in here, right? It's like even like building an analytics site off of your protocol. You could essentially do it literally in an hour with Cursor, just building some analytics on top of it. So I highly recommend it for
Could be
anyone to
done.
check out. Don't want to kind of like derail this whole conversation around that, but like my previous point was, like a lot of people here, including me, we all want to believe something. The ethos of RH still alive. We all want to believe something, but sometimes if people believe in the wrong narrative, people get hurt. And I think Maddie has been, in this community since the early beginning. Same with me. I see Gary, see a couple of familiar faces who have been here a long time, and we kind of saw this multiple times happening over and over and over again. And usually, the people that get hurt are essentially individuals that just want to believe and think crypto is something cool, put money into it, and then essentially 2-3 months later everything goes to zero or gets wrecked, right? And we had those cycles multiple times. Something interesting that RH did with like the pump tires and so on, he launched his own 20 meme tokens. I guess it was a signal of like, okay, idiots, if you want to fool around, why don't fool around with those? And three of them he holds 80% of. They cannot be minted. No more can be minted. They're all owned by the deployer address that essentially launched all of them. Maybe it's Richard, maybe it's not, but high chance it is Richard, since he tweeted first about it and talked about it. Yeah, and
That's
but
like an inappropriate vanity address. Did you catch that?
no, wait, what?
It's like a 3-6
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
cock.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but also at the same time, right? I don't want to discourage anyone to launch on Pulse Chain and so on, right? To build on Pulse Chain or launch tokens, not at all. But I think the community was the strongest when we had, let's say 5 or 10 tokens to rally around, and actually it was the strongest when we had only Hex to rally around. And we have the attention, we have the community here, we have the people and so on. And I think concentrating that power, that the chats, the YouTubes, the content that people create onto a smaller subsection of tokens, at least even if it's for a couple of months, I think will allow us to get even more traction and finally see some green candles that last more than a day or so. I think we
Amen.
all in Pulse Chain want some, fat candles that last a couple of weeks, that give you a tiny bit of bragging rights to wake up and get more people into it. Because there's one thing,
Amen.
it's like Pulsicans and Hexicans and this entire ecosystem, they're masters when it comes to onboarding. but it becomes really, really hard to onboard people on red candles or weird ass narratives that are hard to believe. You know what I mean? And we're so far down the hard to believe spectrum, and then also selling someone on red candles is probably not the most inviting thing. Granted, the macro is not looking the best at the same time, but something to consider.
That was super helpful and informative. Very well spoken. Thank you, Pulse
Of
Coin
course.
List.
Yeah, thanks for the
Everybody
info.
follow.
Yeah,
Everybody
anytime.
follow all these
That was
speakers.
amazing. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
That
So go ahead.
yeah, anytime. I mean, like, just to give a little overview, it's like, we've been early in Hex and saw the community from day one. Pulse Coin List and Pulse Swap all originated to help the community boost. We also founded Pulse Domains. It was all in the sense of like making Pulse Chain more legitimate and providing the same and even better tools that you essentially see on on Ethereum, for instance. So yeah, and then if anyone has any questions on like tools or building or whatever it is, feel free to DM me. That's always open. Happy to kind of send you towards the right tools.
And where's the best public place for people to ask? Because I know you and I know that you're okay to DM with, but I know that normally we don't have that level of trust. So if somebody's
Oh,
new, where's another place they can go to if they're a builder to ask questions publicly?
I mean, tweet, like include us in a tweet, and we're happy to share that. It's not that this knowledge is sacred and secret. It's publicly available for anyone. I think steering the community towards those tools or those building tools. And there's a lot with AI you can do. I mean, a lot, right? And not only from the building side, but when it comes to the content generation side. Just to give you guys a quick example that I recently discovered. Usually, I would take pride in really figuring out if like a video is AI generated or not. But essentially, there's a platform where you could essentially create uh, like quick TikTok videos that are spoken by real individuals trained on their vocals and their videos that are super hard to spot. You can't really tell if it's an actual human or not. It's insane, and that piece of content is like $5 for a piece of content, right? So I know we have a lot of people doing that already and so on, but what I'm saying is like the cost of technology, especially with AI, is coming down so much. And it's like, and if we just, and I know the Pulse Chain community is doing a lot with AI, but it's like that becomes another level or lever that essentially can create 5 or 10x more of the output we have. But again, we need the output, which is fine, which this community can deliver, but we also need some fat green candles to essentially accommodate that or package it well together.
Oh
I
yeah.
have a public Telegram channel, Pulse Chain Bots, where I try to host like pump tires bots and deck screener update bots and stuff like that. If anybody ever comes in there and asks me anything, I'll always answer. So like,
Sweet. That's
feel free to
helpful.
join that too.
So before this becomes even more useful, which I'm totally down with, let's say a couple prayers before this music goes to waste. So who wants to start? Are we doing this?
I pray that Maddie keeps
Brother
hosting.
MGC,
Everybody had prayers. Everybody had prayers in the last one.
I pray
I
that.
I pray I pray that MGC says his prayer.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say a prayer for you guys. I pray that that Vietnamese ladyboy looking, Men in Black alien looking motherfuckers stop rugging our chain. I pray for the liquidity to the Matty token.
Right. You
And
always got to pray for that one.
I'm doing it on KR's behalf here because I know he's got a big bag of that. And
He's dreaming of it right now. He's dreaming of it. I was gonna joke with him yesterday when he fell asleep and then woke up. I was gonna be like, "Yeah, you missed it. You were asleep for 3 days. There was lots of liquidity on Maddie token."
well, you should add it for like 30 seconds, just so it shows up on the bot, and then then remove.
Right, right.
I'd like to go ahead and
And
give a nice little prayer real quick, if you don't mind.
yeah, go ahead. Of
I'd
course.
I'd like to pray that we don't suffer from our imagination and our memories.
Amen. I pray.
Amen.
I pray everybody's enjoying the space. I pray everybody likes the space and shares the space.
Amen.
I pray that
I
Matty
pray
Allen.
that everybody follows all the speakers.
I pray for green candles. I pray that Donald Trump becomes the real Donald Pump for us. I pray that this cycle is the best cycle that we have ever seen in the history of crypto. Amen.
I
I
pray.
pray that KR is having sweet REM sleep right now and does not get pissed that Maddie started his space right after his again.
Literally like 0.02 seconds after his. Just front run me.
I didn't mean to. It was an
No, I
accident.
swear to God, bro. Maddie opened his space like a minute before KR rugged his, bro.
I know a thing or two about Ruggin, so there you go.
I pray that Maddie adds the liquidity back to his Maddie token and then it
Before
takes
KR wakes up.
$600
Before.
before KR wakes up and then pulls it again so that KR can't sell.
I want to pray for Somi's V3 positions on pDAI. I hope they all come to fruition. I hope people buy into it so he can exit.
I want to pray that Matty locks up his token with pDAI.
Right, that's the liquidity that gets added, right?
That's right.
Burn liquidity that can never die.
We need a few more prayers in here. I feel like Post
I
Corpus needs to pray.
pray that we get back to sack rate.
I pray that Pulse Chain flips Solana in
Amen.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I pray for RH to start streaming again. That I think that will be a fun time.
Yeah. What else do you want RH to do?
I pray for more prayers. I pray
I
for.
pray that when Richard starts streaming again, that he lets me onto his stream and Habibi Crypto King becomes a household name.
Alhamdulillah.
I pray for 25K Ethereum for the sack, for the sack
Yeah.
bag to look pretty.
I, I pray that we are not 47.38% down on the treasury bag and that it actually gets in profit. And not $305 million down. And
I
Ethereum
hope that
actually moves.
Somi
prepared
is
a
taping pDAI.
prayer.
Oh, let's hear it.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord of liquidity, grant us wisdom to read the white paper and the strength to say, nah, I'm good. Lead us not into rugs and shady pegs, but deliver us from algorithmic nonsense. May the APRs be honest, the backing be real, and may we stop foaming into coins that are stable in name only. Forgive us our last degen sins as we forgive the influencers who shield them. For thine is the real yield, the true peg, and the audited contracts forever and ever.
Hallelujah. Amen.
NGMI no more. Amen.
Was that
Amen.
he,
off the
he
dome or did you
Hallelujah.
actually write that down?
he's here for the tech.
Yeah, I'm definitely using the tech on this one.
I pray for a chain roll forward, not back.
I pray that that prayer I heard gets posted somewhere and gets repeated at every space.
Right.
On it.
It's okay. We're on 432 hertz. We're healing the space.
And I pray that
Orthodox
somebody
Council room.
stops buying.
I pray that more pDAI people come up and talk to me so I can tell you how you're wrong.
I pray for people to get that sex will go to $1. It's only a question of time.
I pray that I finally get to go to sleep.
Dude, it's been 12 plus hours in these spaces, bro. I don't know what's going on at this point. 3 days in a row? Like,
Habibi, just don't blow up, mate.
Pray for the great exodus towards blockchain from all crypto communities. I pray for more bridges to bring our brothers from other crypto communities.
Hey, why does it say it's new? This is old. Like he said this yesterday. That is Richard.
oh, did he? Wow, that's
Yeah, like
hilarious.
he didn't say it. He
That's
just
even better. Great. So Nine Iron is saying that the Vietnamese scammer is Richard Hart.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's
it was
great.
it was implied like yesterday. Yeah, now he's just straight up saying it.
Can you
That's
frame?
even
Can
that's
you?
even better.
I'm sorry. Can you guys frame your points in prayer?
Yes, I pray that everybody realizes that Richard is not the exploiter, and I pray that the Vietnamese scammer hits a max win on Zeus so that maybe he'll stop selling pDAI.
I pray that the Vietnamese scammer watches your friend Sami and becomes a true believer.
Right. He's just like, there's my exit liquidity. GG's. Thanks for the bandies.
I pray that the Vietnamese scammer makes more video. Dude, he makes one of he puts two fucking pins to his nipple.
I pray that the scammer knows while he's listening to this that he could be doing so much better by posting better content.
Nothing. All I'm saying is, I know the Vietnamese scammer is listening to these spaces. I don't know if you're in here right now, but bro, come out, become an influencer and post chain. Dude, keep minting pDAI to zero, bro. But listen, we'll be stay on the chain, bro. Believe in Richard. Believe in
I
something.
pray that you frame it as a prayer.
I pray that the Vietnamese exploiter comes back, bridges in $5 million, and buys ink. If the exploiter wants to know why ink is the play, that's Richard's meme coin right there. Listen, all of us said, let's go buy pump tires coins. Let's buy this. What's the one coin Richard didn't make up pump tires for? I'm being serious. There's no P ink. There is no rich pump tires ink. It's the only coin Richard didn't make a pump tires for. If we really want to
Amen.
speculate, there it is, bro.
Amen.
Any pDAI people in the chat want to come up and explain to me how the exploiter's Richard Hart? I prayed that a pDAI supporter comes up and tells me why that exploiter's Richard Hart.
I pray that Eski
Let's see.
prays for us in his PDI ways.
Well, I've been trying to see if we could just flip the combo and see if you guys can give me the opposite side of the argument for pDAI.
Well, yeah. Well, you have the opposite side of the argument. This is Richard. We're getting 10 deed chest by and instead of telling us to buy pDAI, he's just telling us to avoid pDAI, and he's actually the one minting and bridging out. And this is all part of his grand plan.
Hmm.
And yeah, guys, pDAI to $1. That's really gonna peg.
I pray that we stop the fraud and we realize this is just a dip.
I pray that
So
speakers who are requesting show their faces so that they can be better speakers, like Melvin, who just came up.
Oh, we have
Yeah.
somebody up. Hello, Melvin.
Hey guys,
Introduce
great
yourself.
spaces. This is Melvin, previous pDAI Maxi, reformed, repented, and
Have you seen the light, brother?
Confess your
I
Praise
have,
Has
sin.
God led
Confess
your
your
way?
sin,
Hallelujah.
bro.
I have, and but I am
Yes,
down to offer
Habibi.
a non-denominational prayer at this time. Um, let's go ahead and take a couple of seconds of silence for our fallen brothers, and we ask for grace upon them. We ask for grace upon ourselves. We recognize our human frailties, our weaknesses, and we seek to be better. We seek to um, make those decisions that serve our best interest and the interest of the chat. We pray for Richard. We pray for the devs in this community, the great people in this community, the great influencers, and we ask for the light and the truth and the way to be upon all those who seek financial freedom, who seek to experience the bountiful blessings available in crypto at this time.
Amen.
Amen.
So, if you don't mind me asking, because I'm genuinely curious, what was the nail in the coffin for you? What made you finally be like, P Dye's not going to peg? This is it. What was the point for you?
Um, I had to do a little bit of trust in my intuition when it came down to some of these things in the last week or so, particularly Monday, Tuesday, and I've shielded people out pretty hard, and I'm relatively new, and so still learning a lot. Made a lot of mistakes, been wrecked pretty hard, but there's enough people that I respect and trust in the community that I'm willing to listen to over just this idea of blind faith. So, and then I the FUD with Maria, and just just enough of the pieces were adding up that it was time to pivot. And I believe that is that it's been
Brother, I'm sorry, your mic is cutting very in and out. Unfortunately, we can't catch that last
I
part.
pray for your connection to get better.
But listen, I'm glad we were able to hype at least one person. Um, glad you were able to finally see it. Um,
I
unfortunately,
pray
we're not
that
the
the
PDI
prayer
supporter I
music
was hoping for.
stops. I pray for the prayer music to stop now.
Maddie's gotten enough clips of us with the prayer music, bro.
Right. To make
It's
KR
getting louder.
angry. And
It's
I'm
getting
still
louder.
working on that liquidity, just to spite him.
Don't worry, we'll get it on the recording.
yeah,
Oh, here it
and sorry
is.
for the mic. I'm in my vehicle. You guys can take me down, but I just appreciate everybody that's out here, teaching and sharing with those of us who are still relatively new, and it really makes a difference. So thank you.
Thank you,
Uh,
Melvin. Thanks for being
thank you.
here.
Uh, any PDI supporters want to come up, or used to be PDI supporters?
Can we all tag 99 Capital because he's a scumbag?
Yeah, can we
Let's bring him back.
please somebody
Do it
That
somebody
fucking
please
nicely,
bring
faggot.
though.
99 here.
Do it nicely,
Yes, I'd
if you
I'd
would.
love to have a respectful
Matty,
conversation with this guy.
he's a faggot.
Ooh.
I just want to have a good conversation. I'm in it for the ratings, man. Come on.
Yeah, guys, honestly, I'm
Oh,
just
we,
trying to
we, we
fresh
know
farm
that.
here. I'm just gonna remind you guys, please follow your speakers. Especially me. You guys can do
Like and
the other
share the
guys.
space.
Do that too. Yeah,
Got
I'd love to get
got
9 iron
another
up here.
person to come up.
I mean, one thing too.
Yeah.
I've released a tweet with the official pDAI forgiveness prayer.
Boys, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Introduce
Hi,
yourself, brother.
hi, I'm Based OG. Lovely to meet you all. I think I spoke on a spaces before. I just want to say it's been great the past few days. I'm not sure if this has happened on this chain before. At least for me in crypto, I don't think I've seen an experience like this where you could say the main actors on the chain all come together to discuss a very controversial topic. So it's been a pleasure to witness it and to experience it and to see how it all unfolds. Um, for me, if I may speak, like it's such an interesting topic. With, with me, the way I see it is because I come from I come from base, so I'm like a not a base maxi, but that's where I've spent most of my hours and days. The past, like basically this cycle, I've done very well on base, and for me, I came across Somi. I've been watching Somi for like a year and a half, 2 years, and to me, in my perspective, like, and this is my opinion. I think Somi's a genius. I think he's one of the most hardworking assets and individuals in crypto and in post chain, and
Hell yeah.
the amount of disrespect that I
100%.
see. Yeah, yeah, 100%. But the amount of disrespect I see in regards to Somi's just trying to. He's a trader. He's trying to work for his bags. He's trying to do this. He's trying to do that. It's like
So
I watch this.
I'd like to
Yeah, of course
like
you'd like
I
to speak, but if I could speak, you would speak for many hours today, bro. So it'd be great to just have my just little bit opinion, and then you can obviously
Go for it.
interject. Yeah, all good, bro. All love. But yeah, as I said, bro, like we're all on the same team first and foremost. Like I'm bullish on post chain, so like we all want this chain to do well. You all praise Richard Hart. Like I'll be honest with you, I didn't know who Richard Hart was until this cycle. So you could say my perspective is kind of new. I'm like a new person onboarding to your chain, and I've probably got like a fresh perspective on this situation. And as I said, Somi for me is like he's one of your biggest assets on this chain. If it wasn't for Somi, I wouldn't be in post chain at all. That's my honest opinion. I didn't know who Richard Hart was. I didn't know what post chain really was. I didn't even know what hex was. To be honest with you, so I wouldn't be on post chain without
Respect.
Somi. Yeah, yeah, bro. I'm being honest with you. Like I don't know any. I did not hear of any of your names. Obviously, I knew who Crypto Banter was, Ivan, all these big fellas. Obviously, when I got into post chain, Somi was the guy, bro. And to me, like analyzing him, understanding him for the past 2 years, I think he's on the money. I think he's going to win. Like my bet on post chain isn't betting Richard Hart. I'm betting on Somi, bro. Like I know a lot of you have been.
Cool.
I know a lot of you have been speaking
So
for the
so I
past
hope you
few.
buy the dip, bro. Just make sure you buy the
Bro,
dip with Peter.
let
bro,
him
like
finish, please.
bro, like you talk about buying the dips, buying this, bro, like as if like I'm all in on pDAI, bro. Like I told you I made a lot of money on base, and like I've hedged my bets, like
But
as a
but
normal investor. So
Did
let
you
me
hear
finish.
my
Let me.
spaces with Sami
Just
where I spoke with him for 3.5 hours on all this?
I joined. I listened to all of the spaces yesterday. I missed like the first bit today,
It
but
was the day before yesterday, I think.
okay, I might have missed it, but
With
like just
Sami. It was with me and Sami talking back and forth for like 3 hours.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure I missed a lot of good things. So like for me, like buying a dip,
Yeah,
bro, it's
yeah.
like yeah,
It's on my YouTube. But
yeah.
yeah, like that was a really balanced. I mean, I don't think he would have been there for so long if he didn't feel
100%,
respected.
bro. Yeah,
And
100%. Because I
yeah,
know like
but
you're
but
a great host, bro. Because like the
but I
other,
think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right that some people have been disrespectful to somebody who's working so
bro,
hard.
he's the
And
man. Like
I
yeah,
again
he's
I
like
don't
yeah, just one last. But I know I've been speaking. I just want to finish off this last point. Like for me, it's like I know you say buy the dip, like oh, laughing at all these pDAI, whatever, bro. It's like my perspective is this, bro. Like you can talk about the details, about the contracts, about this or that. This is the crux of where I want to come from. Like you all talk about how Richard Hart is like he's like God. He's like the brilliant guy. He's a billionaire. He's like intelligent. He knows what he's doing. He's playing 10D chess, whatever the fuck you lot say. I don't mind, bro. Like I enjoy it, and I do believe it. I think he's a smart man. But then to like basically see the past few days and like look at it from like a simple man's perspective, or just taking it on face value, like a fucking guy from Vietnam, yeah, fucking made your chain look like a mockery, bro. He fucking took 4 million out of your fucking chain,
right.
bamboozled one of the most smartest guys in crypto, a fucking OG, a guy who
yeah, but to
thinks
your
on a
point,
different level than us peasants, yeah. just have that perspective and don't like,
Right.
obviously we're all playing
But
a game, and like I'm a bit of a cynic, bro, and I think a lot of the people who speak on this space, they've all got their own interests. Like I know, like or my he did very well on pump for tires, but that guy, he's shilling his bags, bro. A lot of you are shilling your bags. You're doing it for your own sake. For me, the reason why I love Somi is
and
because
you're
he's
not,
doing.
bro.
Bro, I haven't shilled
Let
anything,
him
bro.
finish.
I haven't, bro. I haven't shilled anything, bro. I'm just saying, bro. Like with Somi, bro. Like I trust that guy. I trust his intuition. I'm betting on that guy, bro. And like
That's
when
great.
That's
Yeah.
fine. So that's why
That's it.
now
Listen,
I got to respond
that's
to
it.
this. Hold on,
I
hold on,
yeah,
hold on.
yeah, yeah. So
Let me
that's
let me
just my
okay.
two
respond
cents, bro. And this
because
obviously
I've been
because
listening,
yeah, yeah,
Habibi.
all good. And
Let me
I
Okay.
appreciate you
finish.
Okay.
listening. I do appreciate this. And I said at the
So
start, I love the fact you'll have these spaces. It's great. It's actually, I feel like the community has
Thank
banded
you.
together. So it's all love, and we're all on the same team. I just want to let that on the like we're not enemies. We're talking about a conversation. So
no,
let's
no,
just
no,
do
no.
that.
Okay,
Thank you.
fair play. So just to respond to your comments there, first and foremost, I've been probably one of the most critical people about the Ethereum trade that Richard's done, but loads of people have. It's not a case. We talk about the kind of nuances of has he done good calls or not. I think it's been terrible in terms of not being able to dictate and control where the narratives have gone this cycle. He should be as the front and center leader to be able to do that. But the reason why I said, did you buy the dip, is because okay, your trust. You said, hey, I'm big into Somi. I'm big into him. I trust him more than Richard. This, that, and the other. So you should follow the trades and you should copy trade Somi, right? And
Not
he's got
quite.
wallets that you can. But why
Not
not?
necessarily. Not necessarily.
Why?
I
I
because
bef-
I make my own judgment, right? I don't, when I say I trust Somi, I don't mean like when I a lot of time I speak on post chain, bro. Like everyone wants to like talk about the specific words. When I say I trust Somi, I'm saying I think more probable that he believes in his own thesis. And when I'm looking at his thesis about post chain, about Richard Hart, about pDAI, I'm looking at all the evidence. I'm looking at the history of pDAI. I'm looking at the mindset
I
of
did.
Richard Hart, the idea of like a
so
Mhm.
stable coin.
can I ask you real
It all
quick
makes
before
sense to
you
me.
continue? Are you how do you what is your current stance on PDI? Do you think it is Richard or isn't Richard?
So here's
Do
the
you
thing,
think
because I know Somi asked a lot of you, and he asked like there's the big man Moon King, B Roots, and a few of yous. He asked all of the KOLs, and a lot of people said that. But if I was on that stage, bro, like personally for me, I would say when you mean is he behind it? Like does he have
let me
influence?
rephrase my question then. Do you think PDI is going to peg?
Here's two things. Do I think Richard's behind it? Yes. Do I think it's going to peg? Maybe. Because just
Okay.
because Richard's behind
S-
it doesn't mean he will succeed, in my
Okay.
perspective. I
I
believe he is
understand.
behind it. I believe it's like 80% chance he is behind it, or he has like a big say behind it. He knows what's
So
going on. The question
you
about
are
is it going to peg
actually
or not is like, bro, it's like a bit of a probability. Like there's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees in
yeah,
investing. But
okay,
at
of
this price,
course.
bro, it's like fuck, bro.
I understand.
Before a
Okay.
bull run,
This
when
you're
ETH's at
actually you're
2K, bro, when Somi's
again you
fucking
okay.
shilling it,
Yeah, you're
he's
okay.
dying on his sword. It's fucking
You
opportunity, bro. You
you
got a fucking
you
guy.
are the
Yeah, go on.
you are the
Sorry.
perfect example of what I mean that Somi is actively hurting the community now. Nobody okay, let me just a few
I'm
things.
hurting the
First,
community.
I let me finish.
All right.
First, again, nobody here is putting Richard on a pedestal. If you have been listening to Spaces the entire time, I've actually been saying that Richard didn't know that the he could have known that the exploit was possible, but no, I'm for sure Richard probably did not know how to execute the exploit. He could have known that it was possible, but I highly doubt that Richard actually knew how to do it. It would take a very complicated and a very thorough understanding of the MakerDAO, which I think Richard just doesn't have,
Mm,
or his team was really worried about when they were forking Pulse. Richard also bought the tip of ETH, top blasted ETH.
yep.
Richard is not perfect. Like I said, Richard provided us this product. Now, Sami, I haven't been actively bashing Sami at all. I think what Sami does is great. I mean, again, if we've been listening, Sami grinds 18 hours a day, 3 videos a day, posts all that he can. I'm like I said, I truly believe that Sami's sipping his own Kool-Aid right now. I think he believes this. But the problem is that, like I've been saying, Sami is actively hurting the community because people like you believe in him. And what that causes is that people still believe in pDAI.
I believe
Richard
in the
is not
thesis.
Richard.
I believe in the thesis that he
Yes, but
provides.
yes, his
But
entire thesis is that Richard is behind pDAI. Nine Iron
yeah,
is saying that the exploiter is Richard Hart. No, the exploiter deployed smart contracts that lead to a scam
But
Telegram bot
yeah, yeah.
that
So,
I would
brother,
not
just
recommend
one thing.
anybody
Yeah,
click
no,
on.
no, no
But just
problem.
just
No,
to finish on
yeah.
this again, this guy. I mean, he's posted videos of the wallet address of him shitting on Pulse Chain. I know, again, this guy is some Vietnamese scammer. We know this. This is for sure. This isn't some like kind of fake thing. This guy had his wallet posted on a Vietnamese thread in 2020 talking about how he was a gambling addict and how
So you
that he
take it
was
at face
poor and he
value, yeah?
wanted to kill
You
himself.
take
Hey,
it. Do you
hey,
believe in
hey,
So
hey,
9/11?
do
hey,
you think
Base. Hey, Base.
Yo, nice to
Can,
meet you, brother. Nice to meet you, brother. Nice to speak
quick
with you.
question, because I want to come at you in a different
Yeah, all
an
good,
eye
bro.
way of things and be calm about it. Um, great. Somni's great for information, and that's what you liked about him. That's what got you drawn to him. But on the other side is when it comes to conviction, that doesn't necessarily mean you're right, because even with how long have you been following him?
Probably 13 months now, 14 months now.
Okay,
So
so in the beginning of pDAI, he called it a FUD. He
I'm
actually said it.
aware.
He
Yeah,
said, yeah, he
yeah,
called it a scam, blah blah blah. And he's
yeah,
already
yeah.
talked about that. He's admitted to that. What I like to do when I'm looking at influencers is you got to take someone for different types of things. And well, let me start off with this. How long have you been in crypto in general?
So I first bought my crypto. I think I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum in 2019, but I was kind of very
Okay.
passive in terms of like that cycle. I wasn't like
Okay.
locked in. I became locked in probably in 2022 when
So
it was
what I
fucking
want to do, and
the
that's
NFTs and
fine.
shit. Yeah,
That's fine. I just want to give you and
yeah,
everyone in
yeah,
here
yeah.
and everyone
I know
in
you're an
here
OG.
some advice,
Yeah.
some advice. There's people that is great for information, and there's people that is great for gains. May I ask you a question? And it's not to be an ass on anybody,
Yep.
but name me one 25x coin that you got from Sami.
From Somi. See,
Yeah,
that's a good question because a lot of the games.
you
I Yeah, no,
never
that's
have,
a great question.
you
Yeah, yeah,
never
no, of
have.
course. Yeah, yeah, and
And
I'll say it. I'll
I
say it
don't think
openly. Yeah,
anybody can really say that. So what it
yeah, yeah,
is great for is information for you to make your own decision. But when
100%.
you, I think what's happening right now is you're coming in saying he's a great person for information. I like him for his content, which I don't think anyone on here is saying. But when you're saying, "Hey, I think this is going to go here because of his belief in his bag, which he kind of bought
No, no,
a
no.
lot of
I
stuff."
don't want to say that. I don't want to say I'm betting based on his conviction. I'm basing on the
but that's
idea
exactly
that
what you
no,
said.
no, 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 no. We have to be specific here. I'm not basing on his conviction. I'm saying his thesis to me makes the most sense. And I looked at a thesis and I've made that. I've incorporated some elements to it and I've embodied that into
Correct. So
my
you made your own
conviction.
decision. You made your own decision
Exactly. Yeah,
based
yeah.
off the
And
information.
just one thing,
That's what I'm
brother,
saying. You
because
kind of came at
yeah,
it in
yeah.
a different way, and
No,
it
no, no,
sounded
no, no,
like it's
no,
like,
no. It's all
and
good.
that's like,
And just
that's all.
on an
That's all.
extension to that, I'm quite I'm quite like not aggressive, but like I'm quite like hard headed on this. Like if pDAI does fail, and if like it is true, like Richard Hart didn't see this and blah 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 blah. To me, this would be a net. I know you lot believe it's a positive to get rid of pDAI or whatever, but to me, as like an investor, and mainly on base and like I'm really big into gaming coins, but like as like an investor on different chains. I'm like, all right, if pDAI dies and goes to zero and it's been exploited and Richard Hart didn't see this, I don't believe in post chain because I can't trust this man. I can't trust this chain. I think it's like it's exploitable. And this is just
He
my
forked
opinion,
all
and
of
this is where I'm
Ethereum,
coming
man. How
from.
could he possibly
What
know
about
the workings of
Ethereum?
Okay,
You
every
said
okay,
it's
single
about
okay, base.
Vitalik, and
piece?
I know I'm
Like
pissing
the
off a lot of
entire
people,
thing.
bro, but it's just my opinion.
No,
You
no,
know,
base
so
OG, base
You
OG,
know,
base OG, base OG, base OG. I really like that I have an opportunity because I think all of us are like in Pulse chain for a very long time, and we kind of
you're
all
maxis, bro, and I rate that. I
right.
rate that.
We're not
But
maxis, bro. You've got the least maxis on this panel.
Oh,
Literally.
really?
no, no, but
Moon
we
is not
all
maxi.
but we're all like Pulse chain kind of
Myself.
like integrated.
I
But
mean, I called a freaking BNB coin yesterday. So
but
Yo,
hold on,
I'm
base,
buying
base.
soul coins,
Hold on, but
bro.
I want to
I'm
hear
not
from base.
maxis.
I want to because I
Yo,
think like he has fresh eyes on like he's new to kind of
Yeah,
Pulse
but
chain.
Shaq, I gotta say one last thing. You do know that Somi has V3 cell walls on his PDI that he's just put
bro,
on his
I don't
main
mind. Oh, no,
campaign.
here's my thing.
That,
Here's
that,
my
Yeah,
thing,
I'm
that's
brother.
just
Here's my
as long
thing.
as you know
again
that, it's
to
fine,
me
right?
it trades. To me it trades, and that's my point
Bro,
on it.
bro,
I
bro.
think he's a trader. Like
Yeah, yeah. I didn't say
Yeah, as long
I'm
as we know
riding
that.
it to $1. I didn't say I'm similar to Moon King's perspective. Where it's like speculation stuff like that. I'm just looking at it as like, right, we're about to enter a bull run. ETH's at 2K. You know, post chain hasn't had a season yet. Solana's going to like die as Ethereum rises. EVM chains are going to
Bro,
start
sorry to
rising.
cut you, bro. Sorry
Yeah,
to cut
but
you off.
let
The
Like,
me, but
upside,
let me, but
the
I
let
hear
me
upside,
ask
you,
you, why do you think
but
we
hold
should
on.
buy the coin that
the risk to
somebody can
reward is good,
infinitely
bro.
mint? But
Pardon?
this
Yeah,
guy
and
again,
here's
why
what
do
I'm
you think
saying.
we should buy a?
I don't
You're
believe.
saying
I
you're
don't.
saying you support this because of Sami's thesis.
No,
Sami's
no, bro.
thesis
I
so
feel like Habibi, bro. I feel like you're trying to play a game here. I like speaking to Moon King. Moon
I'm
King's
really
Hold
saying
on,
that.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
you directly said
Ba-
Sami's thesis behind
Bro,
hold on,
no,
pDAI.
relax,
you're
relax, relax,
making this
relax on him.
into
Hold
a
on,
debate,
base.
bro. Like
I want to hear from
you're making
you.
it difficult.
I want to hear from you
Yeah, yeah.
as somebody who's from base and who has fresh eyes, because I think like we all
Yes.
kind of sometimes in the echo chamber. I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Okay, you hear Sammy. You come in since when did you officially bridged in? Let's say.
Probably September before your fucking little pump, bro. And I was like, yo, I caught it early, and then everything fucking died, and
Perfect.
everything
Okay,
died
perfect.
because
I want to know with your fresh eyes, what do you see? What do you actually think of our chain? What do you think of like because we have our own echo chambers or whatever? What do you see in Richard Hart? What do you see in Paul Sheen in general? Let's say forget pDAI, just in general.
what do I think of Richard Hart? I think he is a he is like a rebellious figure. He's a figure which is who doesn't like he wants to I like the decentralized idea, the idea that he's not part of this centralized system, and it gives an opportunity to make the idea of like a new nation. And I really like the decentralized the stable coin, bro. Like to me that's like this chain is made for that. Someone like Richard's made for that. That guy's had like so much attacks, Interpol attacks. He's like so much enemies he has with this with Richard Hart. A lot of lies. People call him a scammer. People call him a farmer. People call him this. People call him that. Where there are bigger, more devious actors out there than Richard Hart. I think Richard Hart. I know everyone's playing a PvP game, but I think Richard Hart has more of an interest for people like us than like other people on different chains. That's how I see it. So I've got quite a positive opinion on Richard Hart. However, if it does turn out that this was like, and this is probably where I take the risk, because as I said, if Richard Hart isn't behind this, then I wouldn't value him as highly as I thought he would be, especially because like if it's true that some guy from Vietnam was able to like value extract $4 million, and Habibi mentioned infinite minting. For me, it's like that's just see that as third or whatever. Like, I'm ready to die with the ship. Like that's my mentality.
Okay,
I'm dying with it. If I lose pDAI, no problem. I'll survive money. I can make a lot of money. I've already made a lot of money. I can make more money. I'll keep on buying the dips, bro. So I don't mind. But this is how you play the game in value investing, and I think there's
okay,
a lot of value in post chain.
and
I
for
think
your
there's a lot of
vision
value in
and
post
for
chain.
your vision for your version of Richard Hart, did you go and look him up? Did you hear the outrage marketing or did you hear it from Sammy?
I heard it all from Somi. Somi is the only reason I'm here. Literally, he's the main reason okay, he's not the only reason I'm here. Let me rephrase it. He's the main reason my eyes and attention was looking at post chain. So he's the reason he's the reason post chain came to my attention.
Okay, so I was saying now, Habibi, check it out because yes, you may think that Somi is hurting the chain on some level, but he's literally the reason why somebody bridged in.
Bro,
So I think
if
we need to be
pDAI, hear me right.
balanced
If
Yes,
over
pDAI
this.
that's
Can I
great, but
if
Sami's
PDAI goes to
also
1 cent, bro, your
telling
chain's gonna
people
have an old
to.
season. If PDAI goes to 1 cent, bro, it's like like post chain's gonna be, bro, is gonna be there, bro. If PDAI gets to 1 cent, not
Postchain
bro, it's not there, bro.
pDAI
Like
was
no, no,
already
no, bro.
three cents.
No. But it's different now. It's different now. It's a different game, bro. What's happened the past few days? I don't think in history. Do you know if we're in World War II, if we're in any historical event, like look at this genocide in Gaza? Yeah, we're seeing it as normal day, normal day. But in 10 years, in 20 years, it's going to be in the history books. In my opinion,
Yeah,
this week is bigger than It's like it's a big if
the,
crypto.
the
If
I
genocide
mean,
in
Richard.
Gaza
Wait,
has been
Sam.
going
By
on.
the
The
way,
genocide in Gaza has been
bro,
going on
it's an
for 20
example, bro.
years.
You always
Hey,
value
hey,
the point,
base,
Habibi.
base, base,
Yo.
base. Quick question. Do you believe that Richard Hart is behind pDAI
So
even
so
after he
yeah, so
said stop buying it?
Habibi asked me this earlier. I believe more probable than not. Like if you want to give percentage, I think there's an 80% chance. And this was yesterday before all this full
80
attack.
or 8?
80. I
80.
believe he is behind it. However, is it guaranteed because he's behind it? It'll go to $1. It's not guaranteed. I don't know.
So
I think
even if he said stop buying it, you still think he's behind it?
so. You're referring to that tweet, right? I'm not
Yeah,
like
where he's like, hey, there's doing this, stop buying
I'll
it.
be honest with
Like,
you. I'm not. And it is, don't you can laugh, but here's my opinion. I know you lot
no,
ridicule
it's
saying,
fine, man.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey, I'm a DJ, bro. So
All right,
I
bro.
listen, bro. You're good.
I know you made it, bro, and we're playing, and this is a game, bro. But like, I think this is a good opportunity as an investor. But when I looked at that tweet, bro, I looked at that and I was like, bro, he was just asking questions, and he was just saying the questions as a way, as like you lot were fudding, or like not, I don't want to use the word fud, but all the kinds of conversations you lot were speaking about in the space of the past 3 days. It's like, oh, there's an infinite minting bug. There's this. There's that. Oh, there's like it's like there wasn't like to me there wasn't a convincing statement that he made to tell me, right, to me it's like, okay, if I'm from a different perspective, I can see this is like a psyop, this is a way to shake out, this is a way to get rid of bags or whatever. And I know this MGC's laughing, he's like, oh, whatever, but that's his
No,
opinion, but that's how I see it, bro. And I guess what, I'm ready to take the risk, and I can take the risk. I take the
but
risk, bro.
but
So
I
base
why
don't
do
base
give
you
a
basic.
think? So if you think this is Richard, why do you think you would deploy a contract that leads to a fake Telegram account that is most likely,
Bro, you're
like I said, a
asking me.
fake
No,
Telegram
look,
bot?
we don't have to get into technical details, bro. I'm just looking at it from a like a whole perspective. No, because you're laughing, bro.
I'm
You
sorry,
don't life, bro. You have to look
but
at
I
life.
provide you proof, and you tell me not to look at the technical
Habibi. Okay,
details.
do you know? Let me ask you a question. Are you? I want to change the topic. Just to give you an example. Like, do you believe in God? Like, do you believe? You said you're Arab. Do you believe in God? You're a Muslim, right, or not? Because if it doesn't
Yeah,
matter if you
yeah.
are or not. Okay, because okay. So if someone comes to you and says, "Give me the details of God. Give me the details of this. Give me the details of the Prophet. Give me all the little details. Explain all." Like, bro, you need
If
a bit
you,
of faith, bro.
but
You need a bit of faith.
unfortunately,
Tell me
this
how God
isn't.
existed. Who created God? Who did this? Who did that? How did God create a genocide? How did God allow cancer? How did do this, bro? Like, you could answer all the little details, bro, but you have to look at the bigger picture, bro. We
Base
only
base
know
Unfortunately, I'm
one
OG.
not
piece
giving
of the
you a
picture.
Base
little
Can you
OG,
slow
real
detail,
quick,
down?
bro.
real
I'm
quick.
giving you a very
Let me
This dude's
massive.
speeding.
base
Jesus.
OG, right? Like,
Yo,
okay, you how long you been on base? Like, how many years?
well, base has only been around since summer 2023, so I basically joined in January, February 2024. So
Okay,
yeah, I'm
so
basically
to
early.
give
I'm
to
basically
give it.
early.
So you remember when, for example, Roost, when it was like, I think it was the second biggest meme coin on base,
Oh, I was
and then
Tate
that,
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and it was sponsored, like, they paid 5 mil to Andrew Tate, and it was getting promoted everywhere. And to a degree, some people were saying that Brian Armstrong was behind it, things of that nature, and then it got rugged, right? Absolutely got rugged. All the liquidity gone. It's kind of the same way where people have said, "Oh yeah, pDAI is associated with Richard Hart, this, that, and the other," and then this is happening. There's an exploit. This is happening. So it's if I said, "Hey,
Yeah, I think
Roos was
again, I think you're misunderstanding
Brian."
me. I have no problem with pDAI. My problem is that people are still trying to say that
There's
Richard is
Richard
behind it.
behind it, exactly.
But bro,
It's like if
let
I
them
said
say it,
that
bro. Who gives a shit? It's a
Brian.
free, bro. Let people say whatever they
That's
want,
fine.
bro.
That's
Like,
fine. But I can correct those ideas. I can say,
sure,
look, it's
yeah,
freedom of speech, of
Yes,
course. But I can say, hey,
I
that's
have
bullshit.
factual yeah, I have factual evidence that this isn't Richard,
you
and
can't.
all
You
and
don't have
again
100%. No,
Noah.
you can't say 100% definite. You can because there's no
Well,
difference in you
Richard is
saying,
100% telling me
brother,
to sell pDAI and to not
brother,
buy it.
nah, brother. Look, let's be serious now. You
Hold
can't
on.
say 100% definite, like by definite, like definitely that Richard is
So
behind it
can
or
you
is not
say that
behind it,
100% definite that Roost is not,
brother.
that
You
Brian
don't.
Armstrong's not behind Roost?
Sorry,
Can you say with
bro.
100% definity that
You
Brian
can't
Armstrong's not
win
behind
as
Roost?
you can't
I
win
think
as
No,
an
that
I'm
we're
investor,
asking
and
you with an example.
I really appreciate all of the interesting points that are being brought up. There was something that didn't get talked about last space that I really want to know about more than like Brian Armstrong. And Execute has his hand up. He's the one who said in a previous space, there's a way to exploit pDAI, and I can show you guys so that the Vietnamese guy isn't the only one that can mint it. And then everybody just kind of cut him off. So I never got to hear about that. Execute, can you please change up the conversation here, and then we'll get back to the other topics.
Yo, mate, thanks for that.
I just want to reset the room and hear from Execute. Do you have a way for me to make free money on Pulse Chain?
So we can go about this two ways. I could talk about the front end that we're trying to build to mint this pDAI, or we can go down the route of I can explain perfectly why Richard Hart is behind all this. Which one do you guys?
Let's do the front end so I can mint free money first.
Could
All right.
I ask a question real quick though?
Yep.
Other than building this front end, you have been able to deposit and mint pDAI? You've been able to mint pDAI?
So there is a mint function that anybody can call. The Atropa guy was doing it through the VAT wallet, but the VAT wallet goes by the debt ceiling one. And the way that this Vietnamese quote unquote guy that you guys are talking about, he got around it by doing a different exploit. So there's technically two different exploits on pDAI, but the one I was trying to create is technically just using MakerDAO, because wrapped Ethereum, it's called like A on the MakerDAO contract, A Ethereum. I think it's worth like 1-to-1 with Pulse right now. You can go loan that out on MakerDAO, and that oracle that guy set thinks that each wrapped ETH on Pulse is worth like 3,000, like $4,000, give or take, that he's paying you for. So you can buy
Yeah.
like 1,000 and then call.
So
ask
again,
for
that doesn't answer my question though. Have you been able to personally mint pDAI?
no.
Because okay, again, so yeah, I think it's irrelevant if you can make a front end or not, because all of us can call that mint function. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't matter. The way this guy's doing it is much more convoluted than just calling one simple function.
Of course.
Yeah, I could put up a front end right now in like 5 minutes that would allow everybody to. You guys can actually. You don't even have to do this. You could go on PulseScan right now and call all the functions you want of the MakerDAO contract. Maddie, like again, right? There needs to be no front end for this because we have the Pulse Chain Explorer. If you go onto the Pulse Chain Explorer and like go to the different MakerDAO contracts, you can call all the functions that you want from there. There'd be no
You
reason to do
actually
a front
can't,
end. You can. I've been doing it. So yeah,
but none of the
there
functions work
if
from there.
that's just because you haven't been executing them properly. I've been doing this. I'd be more than willing to just record my screen doing this.
Yeah,
Again,
you should do it.
it's not just as simple. Yeah, I will right now. Actually, I'll get to work on that. I'm about to put up a
You
screen
should
recording. But
be
yeah,
printing free money right now because there's a whole bunch of
no, because that's
PDAI.
not what that guy's doing. Another thing is, it's not an oracle that guy set. It's the oracle from when Ethereum was forked. Again, none of us know how to do this, including you, or we'd be doing it and we'd be minting pDAI. Just because you know the final step, the actual mint part, the one single function he's calling, no, that's not how he's getting to that point. That's not the only thing. And again, if anybody's listening right now, you can go on PulseScan, find any of the DaiJoin contacts, go to contract, go to read and write contract, and there you guys go. You'll be able to connect your wallet and you'll be able to call all the functions yourself.
Yeah.
To get to another, and now again, yeah, but as we shut that down, you would not be able to make a front end right now that would allow people to mint pDAI. Just to change this, you'd be able to make a front end that would allow people to call the function that you can already call yourself on PulseScan.
Sure, if that's what you think. Those functions don't work.
That's not once I'm about to put up this video right now. I'd actually love to hear why you say Richard is definitely behind pDAI.
I would love to hear that as well, bro. You're on my team.
I'm a billionaire. I gotta set back a couple steps here. So I'm a billionaire now. I'm very good at crypto. I've been around for a really long time, right? I'm not saying I'm Richard Hart, but I'm a billionaire. I'm gonna fork Ethereum. What's the top 3, 4, 5 protocols that everybody uses on Ethereum? Do you think taking over these protocols and knowing every single thing about them would be a good idea? For me to do that, of course, I should know every single thing of the top 5 protocols on Ethereum. And should I try to psyop them and abuse them on my chain? Yes, I fucking should. Why? Because you need to be, especially being Richard, he believes in, like, he's the king, right? He doesn't want anybody to own fucking 99% or like any amount of the coin, pretty much. He wants 100% of the coin if he can get it. And I agree with that. That's the proper way of doing things if you want to be Richard. So for you guys to sit here and say that he's not a part of it is malice. And for him to not like try to at least take over Maker is malice. Because there's so many third party like call functions, remint functions that could empty this chain from this, that, and another thing. There's so many things that Maker has that this chain needs. It's not even funny. So he should have been on this from day one. He should have at least bought up all the maker, started voting, started calling all those functions, switching these things from the ETH, the wrapped ETH. He should have switched all those over to Hex or Pulse something. Did something with those functions. He could have built a whole front end. He could have built this. He could have built that. And I think he did. And I think he top blasted ETH. He fucked up and called it. And then he told you guys to go send postcards. And every dollar that came in, he had a backdoor to rinse you guys out through this stupid pDAI function. He created a whole economy on pDAI. He got a whole bunch of paid shills to shill it. Probably paid Booty King over here and all these other fucking KOLs
So
to shill this shit in the
hold on.
backdoor. And then he just keeps
So let him
dumping
finish. Let him
and
finish.
dumping and dumping and dumping. And then he's like,
Any other theories?
Hello? Did
That was
okay, so
interesting.
let,
Matty, that was interesting,
let me
bro.
just address some of his points real quick. I'm currently recording the video of me doing this on Pulse Scanner. Hopefully that'll discredit anything he has to say for you guys, just in case it isn't. Again, Richard probably wouldn't have taken the time to even find this exploit if it was there. Again, this isn't as simple as something that's built into the contract. Yes, one quick look at the contract would have been able to get you to take a look that there might be a way to exploit it, but nowhere in any of the contracts, no matter how much looking you do, tells you how to do the exploit. Another thing is the maker DAO can't be the Oracle, it can't be fixed. Voting power, the Oracle can't be fixed without ETHMaker DAO admin keys, and voting power by the tokens also needs approved by the team, which would also take ETHMaker DAO admin keys. So Richard couldn't even fix this if he wanted to. We would need
Habibi, can I ask you a question, bro? How long have you been in Pulse Chain? Because I know what you lot asked me about Pulse Chain stuff. How long have you been in Pulse Chain? And how long have you known Richard Hart for?
it's been about 9 months now.
So you've only been in Pulse Chain for 9 months, right? And you seem to know a lot about Richard Hart's mindset, and you seem to know what he would
You're
and
right,
wouldn't do and
because
stuff.
that's because what got me into Pulse Chain was actually consuming every single video Richard has on YouTube.
Right.
Even the ones from back when he was a BTC maxi, even the ones back before he hated Ethereum. I've consumed probably more Richard Hart. I've consumed all of Richard Hart's content, anything I could find, any Twitter space that he was in, all of those old Twitter spaces. So yes, I know a lot
Yeah.
about, and again, I'm also just not basing this off what I know about Richard. Again, V1 fees didn't work on testnet. People were getting no fees in the LP, and again, nobody said anything. And guess what? Richard launched, and then people finally realized.
So
Richard,
you think he made a mistake with pDAI then? This is his mistake, his error. He didn't have the foresight
well, this
to this
isn't
isn't
a
part of his
mistake.
plan, you could say. Assuming
This
he's
isn't a
behind it.
pDAI isn't a mistake. The pDAI problem goes away as soon as we stop buying pDAI, or
Right.
until
Right.
yeah. I mean, again, the
And
pDAI is
that's not
only
going
a
to happen,
problem
right?
because we're
That's
buying it.
realistically not going to happen. There's 300 people
As
here.
long as there are people like Sami still telling people that Richard is behind pDAI when there is overwhelming
Right.
evidence that there isn't.
So the solution to this issue, the solution to Pulse Chain, the reason why Pulse Chain is bleeding and dying and whatever, so much is being extracted, is not because of macro events like Ethereum being down,
Well,
risk
yes,
off.
I mean,
It's more to do with pDAI
actually.
and the people shilling pDAI. That's what you think. It's got more of a factor to Pulse Chain
$4
bleeding.
million $4 million has been extracted because we keep buying this Vietnamese scammers bags.
And that's the reason
So
why Pulse Chain is dying and bleeding, right?
I
And
mean
the
that's
I
contract is
don't think we're
dying.
saying that. I don't think
again,
we're saying
yes,
that.
that's actually no. Actually, the reason
Because
Pulse is at all time low,
that's the most retarded
the
thing I've
reason
heard, to be honest with you.
no, but the current reason we're at all time low at this very moment is yes because of this pDAI exploiter and
Right.
because people
Right.
are buying pDAI. That's not me. That's not why we're below SAC right now. No, that is why Pulse hit all time lows.
Mm.
Yes, Pulse chain
Yeah,
hit all
because
time low because $4
because
million
pDAI is
was
heavily
rinsed out.
liquidity bonded to
Yeah.
Pulse,
We are.
and every single time it routes, right, you're selling pDAI into Pulse and then Pulse into stables, and then those stables are coming off chain. So what was it, like 25% of the sales has been from the pDAI extractor?
$4 million
Correct me
in
if
the
I'm wrong.
last 2 weeks. $4 million last 2 weeks. 15 million total.
And counting.
Yeah, 15 million total the whole time of the pDAI history. And It's, yeah, it is very much the reason we are down in prices. If we had that
Maddie, could
liquidity
you check
still
your
here,
messages real quick?
yeah,
Yeah.
Sure, I'm gonna check my
if we had
messages. This is really great content, and people aren't sharing the space. So maybe you guys are just trying to hog the alpha for yourself, or
No,
you
I'll
haven't shared
retweet
it
it, bro.
yet. But go ahead and share the space and follow all the speakers who are here
Thanks for the
because
follow, Matty. I
there's
appreciate it.
really good content here. I'm gonna check my DMs.
yeah, just
Um,
finish that
it
up.
Quick
sounds like in
question.
terms of a
One
solution,
second, one second.
in
Let
terms
me
of
just
like,
finish that thought. In 15
yeah,
million
yeah.
of the total extraction from this guy, the whole time pDAI has been having its run, and him exploiting it. 15 million. We would be way higher in price than we are right now. Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. So like, it sounds like we're kind of like we've got golden handcuffs. We're stuck. We're trapped in this situation. People don't want to sell. Somebody's gonna shill it till he
No, we're
dies or
done.
until it goes to $1, and
It's
like we're
done.
just gonna be in a situation, right? So my question is like, in 2 weeks, so in 1 2 weeks, as this rocky road happens, let's say somehow PETA does go to 1 cent. It could go to zero, no problem. Then you're right, and then we got to deal with that mess, right? Let's say it goes to 1 cent in like by the end of March or like beginning of April. What would your opinion and perspective change? Would you believe? Would you be more inclined to think that Richard Hart was behind this? That there was some kind
No,
of
man, he's
order
still
and it
minting.
wasn't chaotic? Or
He's
would you
still
say it's like,
minting.
oh, he's just farming? He's
He's still
farming. He's
minting,
taking a
man.
piss.
The exploiter is
All right.
still
So
minting.
I
Nobody
wouldn't
wants this
believe,
thing. We're going to remove liquidity. We're going to cut off his
but
liquidity
even
but
though
listen,
again.
even though
listen,
it's
listen,
gone up,
listen. We're not going to convince each other. We are not going to
no,
convince
it's
each
not about
other.
convincing. No, I'm
No,
not here to
no, no, no,
convince
no,
you or
no, no.
anything. I'm
But
here for
listen. I
sake.
don't want to convince you either. But what's really interesting is that you have a different perspective, and I'm interested in that. You said that you feel that if that, because honestly, I'm looking at the chain. We had $87 million of volume, $3, and we're complaining about 3 million that went out to PDAI. PDAI is not killing the chain. It's just not happening. Okay.
I know it's
But,
not,
but,
bro.
but I know, but like, but so what I'm asking you, because you said that before, you said, hey, if this happened and Richard Hart is not behind it, you feel like it's a failure for the whole chain. You said that if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe that if this is all a scam, that if Richard Hart isn't behind it, or like if he was behind it, that he got like compromised and stuff like this, I would lose faith in Richard Hart's ability. I would lose faith in the ecosystem personally,
Okay,
and
now
I
that's
But
what's
would.
interesting. Now, hold on, that's
that's
interesting.
not
That's
what
interesting.
anybody's saying.
No, no, but that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
Bro, he's
But
asking me a
that's what
question,
Base is
bro.
saying.
Relax.
But that's cool. That's what I want to understand. So, but to me, that's interesting because you said you followed Somi for about 13 months, and Somi is always flaunting about like how the best innovation since Uniswap is essentially Paul Sex, and how about all these other communities that he shares and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But you on that one think it's a major failure point, an oversight from the founder of the chain. Am
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understanding you
So,
correctly?
so I'm not like a blind follower, bro. I've got like my own views and stuff. Like he can have his opinion about POSEX. I don't like. It could be good to buy and burn features, like a better Uniswap. I'm not that passionate about POSEX. I'm very interested in the idea of pDAI and a decentralized stable coin and it going from $0 to $1 and how it can be used. It's just like it sounds so innovative and it sounds crazy, but it's like Bitcoin was fucking crazy with the fucking crackheads and skits people buying that shit. Like didn't know what the fuck it was, didn't know who Satoshi was. It could have rugged. It's like it's to me. It's like it's a risk I'm willing to take, bro, because it has
Okay,
that unicorn
so if
feeling.
Those are great points. I'm glad you're bringing up those points. Now we have people with their hands up. I'm going to go to Pulse Coin List, then Slayman, then Gary. Pulse Coin List, you can unmute yourself and speak now.
Here we go. Well, I think this is a really fascinating conversation. Just hearing on it, just hearing this, and I think it's a masterclass in belief. But then also, while you guys were talking, one thought occurred, and I think it hasn't been really discussed yet. But if pDAI, and I hate to talk about pDAI to be honest, because I think it's there's a lot that has been discussed already. But if one really wants to take control over pDAI and is basically planning out to launch a chain, you essentially fork Ethereum, and this essentially means you have the entire Ethereum network on your computer before deploying it into your nodes, which also gives you the ability to edit accounts, to essentially put essentially tokens into your wallet or remove them from other wallets. At the same time, depending on how smart contracts are written, you can also change the owner address of those. And again, this will be done locally and once deployed. So it seems that would be much straighter, a much more straightforward way to get control of the MakerDAO contract, for instance, or any other contracts. And so yeah, so just kind of like my 2 cents on that one.
Thank you. Slayman?
Yeah, hey guys. I'm a Hexican from like day 4. I got a couple 555 stakes on both chains.
Respect.
Yep. And Maddie, you'll remember this. Hex got chilled like crazy. Eric Wall, different people attacked us, and we went down. Look, I'm also in pDAI, and I'm going to hold it. I don't care if it goes to 0. It's a fun ride. But my question is, I didn't realize this, but like I thought Habibi has been in Hex and Pulse, but now I find out he's only been in maybe just slightly over a year. How many of you guys have just been in Pulse? That's one of my questions. And my next question: if you guys are right, doesn't this mean that it's a negative impact on Pulse when other people say, "Oh, well, those coins that are attached to Maker and DAO, the Maker DAO, and then everything else, you can't use those on Pulse because there's a leak on it." So wouldn't that also scare away any investors that want to come over, major whales, major banks, anything, which means you cap the growth of Pulse if you guys are right? That's my
Great
question.
question.
I'd like to clear it up real quick. Again, the question I was asking is how long I was in Pulse Chain. I've been an EHEX maxi. Richard killed EHEX. Todo sort of come to Pulse Chain, and that's what I EHEX did. isn't dead. EHEX isn't dead. I still have my EHEX Yeah, but stake. I mean, yes, that's true. And again, but what did Richard told me that EHEX is where I should be, and I as much as it sucked, I
Well,
but he was
EHEX
also
has
trying to get that. He was trying to get
outperformed.
rid of that. He was also
So
trying to get rid of the Bank X wall. Remember that, and now they're gone.
EHEX has outperformed since Richard fudded it. So on the day that Richard fudds pDAI, it's not a strong argument to say like Richard killed eDAI or EHEX because he didn't.
I'm sorry, killed was the wrong term of use. Richard basically told the rest of the EX holders that they should probably bridge into Pulse Chain. Killed But was probably the wrong use of the word. like But I also Sami just said, but wanted like to say for that, all right, just before I'll you keep going, I just wanted to say that the execute who was saying he needed to build a front end and you can't run these yourself. I actually just provided step-by-step instructions on how you can all go do this yourself on Pulse Scanner right now. No well, front end needed by well, hold some on. guy.
That's awesome.
Hold on. And
Thank
that's
you.
great. That's great.
Thank
But
you.
Maddie, you remember this too. Richard, before Pulse launched, he was talking about Maker and talking about DAI. He was talking about it a bunch. He was talking about building a coin and playing with
Sure. Yeah,
Maker.
of
And
course.
then we all assumed that he was the one that took over it because he was talking about
Yeah,
it
but
before
he
Pulse
didn't.
launched.
He didn't take
Are we
over it.
sure? That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking, because why would you talk
Yeah.
about it and then let someone scoop
Well,
you when you launch your chain?
well, that's what happened. Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Well, I mean, if that's true, then my question again that no one wants to answer: does this not
Well,
put a
look,
cap on Pulse,
we
the
can
growth?
answer that because we talked about it a little bit earlier, and I hope to upload this space in the morning on my YouTube so people can go back. As soon as we end the space, you can rewind. But we talked about how there are certain tokens that have liquidity, which is basically a form of inflation that paired with pDAI. And there are some really big ones out there that are they're part of the problem because if I was asking the same hard questions that you're asking. I was asking, well, what happens if there's a infinite inflation bug in something that has burnt liquidity with something else? Well, isn't that an infinite minting bug for the something else?
Well, yeah,
And yeah, the
Gino
answer is yes.
Well, PGNO was also minted a couple hours ago by the same guy that's been minting,
Right,
uh,
right.
pDAI.
So we already talked about it, and there's some people on this spaces, and Pulse Coinless actually offered that they will actually be updating their list of coins to reflect what has admin keys and what doesn't. So that will help whales who do want to come into Pulse Chain. and drop $8 million. And now we're back at sack prices for all the core tickers. We have 5 cent hex as soon as a whale comes in and drops only $8 million. So I think we will get back to that point. Full confidence will be restored. I just think that right now it's important to be asking these tough questions like you did.
Hold
Now,
on.
now hold on,
Oh, all
stop.
right.
So
Sorry.
we're gonna go to Gary next.
Sorry, I had to move where it could be heard. So we all this is a trend. We all leverage someone else's authority, brand, expertise, code. We all leverage those things. So there's nothing absolute. Everything is probabilities. We either base it on the influence or access or knowledge base of someone else, and we lean on that and we call it our own. The guy that was speaking earlier talks about Sami. He's much appreciated in a lot of ways because it's attention getting, and every transaction is burning through PulseX and Pulse, tokens that other people like. Every fluctuation up, fluctuation down. Now, can it kill the chain? There's a lot of things that kill chains, right? There's a lot of stuff. The number one thing to kill a chain is lack of attention at all. Um, Ethereum had a death event, and then it relaunched and became the Ethereum that we know. These ideas of the immutable code on Ethereum that was killed, and he used the word phrase "kill," and I've used it before as well. With a tweet, a single tweet, is because so many people reference the authority and knowledge base of Richard, or the trend of Richard, so that we don't pay attention to ETH proof of work or ETH W or whatever it is, other forks of Ethereum. We don't pay attention to it because we do pay attention to the individual, the influencer, more than we pay attention to the code. If anybody is an absolutist about the code, they would have 4 hex that they promote on every tweet that they make, every single hex protocol. And it's the same thing here. We are leveraging even B-Roots. B-Roots is great for influence. He's someone that monetizes his attention, and people benefit from the attention that he gets. But he also pays attention to TA. What is TA? TA is just looking at the crowd showed on a chart, participants in anything, and saying, hey, the probability is it's going to go up because of this shape has played out in the past, or the probability is going to go down. That again, it's just leveraging what other people are doing. We do that here in every form. You trust the code because you can look at the code as a dev. The Solidity guys that came up and battled for a little bit and said, this is what it is on code. And then we all take that as gospel, or we say, 2 experts in Solidity can't agree. So it is only attention, and it is only leveraging and hedging, hopefully, probability of an outcome. That's all these things are.
I'd also
Sharon,
like to preface that any
Right.
PDAI guy
So
that's come up has
go
not been
ahead,
a
Sharon.
Solidity
hold
expert.
on. Yeah. So I like your perspective, Sleeping, on that question that you asked, and I have a kind of a counter question, because you, in a way, I see what you mean, but my question would be, okay, to me, and I think we can all agree on this, at face value, Richard Hart, through a series of tweets, told us, I am not behind pDAI, there's a bug, and please stop buying. Now, I understand that with the question marks and all that, it can be reinterpreted in another way, but my question to people who have that perspective is, if me, myself, a simple guy, I cannot read through this, what does it mean about the founder? Because essentially my only reflex is like, if he is, after all, behind this, and he's telling me to stop buying and all that, and I'm confused, I'm turning my Twitter off. I cannot take his word at all. You understand what I mean?
May I answer? Is it okay? All right.
Go.
The reason why about the question marks and everything, and I've told Sami this, which by the way, I want to say, Sam, you got Habibi and everybody saying he's bad for the thing. I've been watching Sami for over 2 years when he would make fun of us, but before the Pulse launch, and when he started talking about all this stuff being built, that's what got me into pDAI. And he even warned me on YouTube comments, be careful. And I said, I'm just taking a chance. I'm not yeeting everything in, right? But on the question mark stuff, what I always do, I follow actions, not words.
People say things all the damn time, all the time. Richard says things that makes no sense, even to the rage marketing stuff. We had to interpret that as he's just trying to push hex. So, I mean, I follow what's going on, and what I see is somebody's building something, and I love stable coins, and I think we do need a decentralized stable coin, like OG said. Um, I see something being built, and I don't
Okay,
care. I
okay,
don't
but
care
hold
what
on.
people say. I'm just seeing what's going on in the chain, and that's why I jumped into pDAI, because I see something being built. And if it's an exploit, it's an exploit. But if something's being built, then I got into it before whatever happens happens. That's
It's an exploit.
okay.
Right, but
Then
from what you're saying is that okay, if that is not working, the attention that we get from the exterior is like, oh, they don't have what we need, they couldn't build a stable coin, blah blah. Okay, okay, valid perspective, I can understand it. And what I'm saying is that if our founder is telling us, hey, it's a bug, stay away, and it's not actually true, what image does that give to other people?
no, I totally agree. It's like Sami says, it's a lottery ticket. You're just taking a chance. I didn't put everything into it. I bought a few 100,000 of pDAI, and I'm just riding the ride. I didn't spend much money on it, and I got in like a year and a half
So
ago. So
if you go to buy a lottery ticket and the lottery ticket is rigged and it's known that it's rigged, you wouldn't buy the lottery ticket, right?
but again, I got in a year and a half ago, right?
That's
So
not true, man.
we
Everybody knows that they're rigged. Everybody knows that a lottery is rigged. Whether it's an
this is
axe or
true as well.
everybody knows it's rigged.
But I'm
E-
just saying that
But,
I took a chance. I took a chance.
well, an
I see stuff
inflation
being
bug.
built. I see stuff being built. I see reasons why there's a quote unquote inflation bug or error that is able to mint over. We're talking. I mean, again, what happens with these auctions? What if the auctions do happen? Are you guys going to back off that narrative and say, well, then it's this and this and this, and say something else?
And
Or
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's been the
the
auctions for
issue
two
is the
weeks, and then
burden.
it's been the auctions for 2 days. Like, and we passed those 2 days, then those 2 weeks.
no. It's supposed to take a few days when the joy hits zero. And the
Yeah,
joy's
but the
going
burden,
down as we speak.
it's the pDAI guys that keep having to change their narrative. So we haven't, I mean, our
It's
stance
not
has
true.
been clear on
I
this
I
since day
I,
one.
I forget who Pete Sami posted. I forget, it was
And
either
I'd also like to say
nine
I'm
iron
not
or
saying
somebody
Somi's
else.
bad for the chain. I'm
You
saying what
did say
Somi's
that. You
currently
did say
doing.
that 2 years ago
I'm
or two
saying what
hours ago.
Somi I'm saying what Somi's currently doing is
What?
harming the chain. Yes,
What?
telling
Saying that
people to
he's
buy
going
cubes
all in?
is hurting the chain.
Saying that he's going all
No,
in? That he's
telling people
putting his neck on
telling
the line? That's
it,
bad.
telling people to buy a coin that some Vietnamese kid can infinitely mint and
He's
send to
not
zero.
saying that.
Bro,
He is not suggesting other people buy it. He's saying, I'm going in and I'm staying in and I'm the captain of this boat and I'll go down all the way if I have to. That's what he's
yeah,
saying.
and just an extension
That's
of that,
not a
if I may
bad
say,
actor.
Habib, this is where like with the thesis we have different fundamentals because Sleeman maybe he believes it. We're hedging our bets that Richard's behind or like there is some order. That's our thesis that there is some order behind it. And you mentioned exploit whatever
Yeah,
that
but
it's all part of it. And you mentioned Vietnamese like as if that's definite. Like this is where I disagree with you because I don't think it is definite that it's some. This is where the fundamentals of our thesis on this matter are completely different, and we can't agree on this because we have to look at
so
the
can I
first
ask you a
principles.
question then?
You can ask me many
Do
questions,
you
bro. I'm here,
okay, great. Do you think Richard went on in 2020 went on a Vietnamese chat room and wrote an
bro.
essay on
You're
how he
asking
was
such like
I'm but these
you're
aren't
I would love to hear if anybody has anything new to add to the conversation. So far, I'm starting to hear repeats, which, like, I have to put this on YouTube. I have to screen record this for hours and hours. We've had super high quality discussions already tonight. Everything that everybody has said has been valid. I've really appreciated it. We're about out of time, and I want to hear either prayers or, which we need Money Gang for. If he's not a speaker, we can't have prayers. Or I want to hear new points that are not desperately arguing like things that people have already said before.
then I'm sorry, allow me to rephrase my question. You keep talking about you think your thesis, Richard Hart. Could you provide us some sort of proof or why you think Richard is behind it, or why you believe that?
I think that's been
Because
covered, to be honest, bro. I'll just be repeating like 80%, 90% of the Somi's thesis, to be honest. So I feel
I
like
know,
if
Maddie,
you
could you? Has
yeah, go
this
on.
been stated yet
Hold on,
before?
hold
Why
on.
they think?
No, this is why. This is why, and this is why. And I don't know if this is brought up, Maddie, and if it was, I was in the movie, and I'm sorry. It's because Richard talked about Maker and Die before Pulse even launched. Before V1, the test net, he was talking about building it. That's why that was a one peg, and then I started seeing all this other stuff happening on chain, and I was like, oh my god, he's doing it. And DAI is super cheap to play with because it does cost money to do all these minting. Nobody talks about that part. But I'm just saying that something's going on, and that's why. And if it was talked about before, I apologize.
So I'm glad that you say that. So you believe that because Richard said something. So what makes you?
Not not
What makes
something.
you?
He talked a
Yes,
lot. He talked a couple
Richard talked
hours
a
on a
lot about
video.
it. Yeah. Then why do you refuse to believe that Richard is when he's also telling you to not buy coins that inflate?
Then why use question marks on those tweets?
Okay, this is the point.
Why
This is the point that I think hasn't really
S-
been brought up before. Is that okay? Let's say you guys are right. Let's just assume that you guys are right, and we have a founder who says buy PulseX, but don't buy DAI. But DAI is really the best thing to buy, and DAI is really the thing. In the future of that, everybody else is looking at us like this guy, his parents, telling his kid, don't eat the food, and then do eat the food and memory, and then go to outside when it's cold naked, but don't go inside with some clothes
hold
on. Hold on,
hold
let me finish.
yes, sir.
We would have entirely contradictory statements from our founder that we can't even understand ourselves. That you
Uh,
being right assumes that there is no way that we can actually read through what our founder is talking to us.
okay, well, first off, look at what happened. Follow the patterns. Go back. So
Do
first,
you even
PDAI starts.
acknowledge? Do you even acknowledge what I just said?
Well, you said what happened, and I'm trying to tell you
No,
why
you did not
you were
listen. You
right.
did not listen. You did not listen.
Okay,
I said,
sorry. You said
if you are right,
yeah.
and he is behind, and let's say you're right, he's behind it, and he's telling us stop buying. He's telling us buy Pulse Chain, buy PulseX, and stop buying pDAI. He always says that shit. He likes PLs. He likes those, and he doesn't like this one. But if it's actually,
He likes his cores.
but
He likes his
hold on.
cores. Yes.
So that's one. And now he's telling us. So that would be a parent that tells his kids contradictory messages, and everybody else from the outside is looking in like this dad is telling his kids, don't eat the food, starve, but you're supposed to do the opposite. How in the
Okay.
future? How in the
Let's hear from Money Gang Crypto and then Triplet Dead.
That was interesting. I was going to say to the point, why did he put question marks and things like that? It's avoiding liability. So you know that he says like not financial advice. I mean, all the YouTubers say the same thing. If the advice turns out wrong, they'll be responsible for it and face backlash. So the reason why you would use some question marks is to avoid liability. You are not implying financial advice, and it's your responsibility to buy or sell the coin. Also, it's trying to encourage that critical thinking and its plausible deniability. So, all of these factors, and you got to remember, this guy had said some things that could be taken as liability based on his statements on Hex, and then went through an SEC lawsuit and is in an SEC lawsuit. And hopefully by April 20th, it will be cleared of that. However, people will see it as emotional manipulation and they'll see it as liability, and you could get sued again. So that's why you would put vague statements. Sorry, guys, that's
Excellent
Okay.
true.
Well,
point.
then
And that was from B Roots, by the way.
Excellent
That's by
point.
from B.
can I
Let me say B
explain
Roots
something?
first brought
Can
that
I
up.
explain?
Wait,
I'm sorry. I was really clear. I thought that Money Gang Crypto was going to speak and then Triplet Dad. So let's try again, and then we're going to raise hands and make this into an orderly space that I can upload onto YouTube without all my autistic friends getting pissed off and not even listening to it. So that's what happens when people talk over each other. So we're going to try this one more time. People can raise their hands. We're going to go to Triplet Dad, then we're going to go to Based OG. Please do not repeat stuff that's already been said.
Thanks for having this space, Maddie. Nice to hear you. Gary, nice seeing you in here, Money Gang. I wanted to respond to the point that uh, Somi is bringing people over to our chain. And I've heard both of these gentlemen, one of them who's been on
Respect.
the show. What was that?
I said respect. Sami has
Thanks,
been
bud.
bringing people to our chain.
Agreed. So I keep hearing, we keep seeing things being built on the chain, and that's why we're here. There's a lot of action. That is going to go away. I've probably built more dApps than most people on this chain. I'm in builder rooms. I talk to builders and devs. And right now, because the value is being sucked out of this chain, those efforts are turning to other chains. So if you would like to see a thriving ecosystem here on Pulse Chain, keep taking all your money and putting it into pDAI and letting that guy extract it onto the ETH chain and watch all the tokens that we transact in on a daily basis go down in value to it. Just doesn't make sense to launch a project on Pulse Chain anymore. It's 100% true. You could put your thumb down if you would like, but I don't see a whole lot of people even staking Hex right now, bud. So we have a Hex staking protocol. That's not getting a lot of action. Everybody's taking their money and throwing it into pDAI or those ecosystems. So I would take a real serious look at that. There's a lot of builders, some of them within this chat, that are looking at launching on Sonic, Base, going over to other chains completely. Entire community, the love them or hate them, right? The Tangang guys took their business over to Chia, and now they're over at Base, and now they're going to Sonic, because the value here is short lived. It needs to be resolved, and if you guys keep buying those tokens, and the main tokens, the RH tokens suffer, or the ones that the main tokens within this ecosystem, whether it's the Dexus or the printers that Fast just launched. When Fast launched that thing, ink was at about $1.81. Right now it's at $1.48. Right.
Right.
It's the main tokens here.
Yeah, well, yeah, thanks for that perspective. That's an important one that we haven't heard. We're gonna go to Based OG and then Gary and then Habibi and then Dude.
Thanks, Matty. So yeah, I'm not sure if this point has been discussed. It hasn't been discussed whilst I've been here, so apologies if so. But it's a response to MGC about speculating that the question marks were more to do with the regulatory issues as opposed to just like trying to FUD people out of the bags. Well, bro, it could be both. Like, it's not mutually exclusive. It works for both. Like, it's not like it has to be one or the other. Like, both of those conclusions actually work well with each other. And on top of that, when we're like speculating about how Richard mined, like what his intentions are, if he is even behind Peter, if he is, what his intentions are, what his moves are, then I think like things will be priced in very easy. Like look at pump tires, for example. If we had inside information that Richard Hart was going to launch pump tires, and that like he was actually going to pump most and push all these projects, a lot of us would have bought and held instead of like just trading it and quickly flipping it, whatever it may be. So it's like
Right.
if we had this knowledge about what his intentions are, then the price the price would either be zero because we'd know it's not him, or like he's literally an exploit as like a Vietnamese guy and Habibi's right, etc. Or actually is Richard Hart, and there's like a strong chance that that he could peg it if it is behind him. So the price would be like, as Swami says, 20 cents or 50 cents or whatever it may be. So this is where
Yeah,
the
so you're
game of
saying people
investing
are
is with
still
crypto.
pricing in things that they believe.
Yeah, personally, for me, I would say that they're
Right.
mispricing because I believe, in a perspective, that this token should be higher based on the information and the thesis I believe in. So I believe it's mispriced and I believe it's undervalued. So, so yeah, just to conclude, MGC's point about regulatory stuff, it very well could be the case, but it could also be the case that his intentions are shake out the weekends or whatever it may be. So yeah, like it could be both. And yeah, if we knew what he was saying, yeah, we wouldn't be having this conversation because it'd either be rich or not.
Since you brought up Money Gang, I'll let him just respond
Yeah, no
briefly before
problem.
we go on to
Yeah,
Gary and then Habibi.
all
Go
good.
ahead.
Yeah, no, I stick to my first premise was that it's probably he'd be done for liability, and there's a reason why he's put in the past. I don't know if it's still there, that he doesn't control his tweets, you know, blah blah blah. He doesn't respond to mail. He doesn't respond to this. He doesn't respond to that. You know, this whole thing. I mean, the whole case comes down to potential promises that were made and the illegal raising of quote unquote ICO funds, done in a bad way. So I don't think that Richard wants to be in more legal trouble, especially if he gets out the water from this, which I think it will be. It'll be chucked out in on April 20th. You know, there's a reason why. If you just look at the fact that it could be a statement that is written down on Twitter that can be used, like you can say, "Hey, that statement shows that this guy told me not to buy this coin," and he could be in trouble if he did that. That's my personal opinion. But again, you know, everyone's got
Yeah,
different viewpoints.
I would venture the same guess. Gary, go ahead.
Just devil's advocate, and not really that strong of a devil's advocate, is we all miss, a lot of us miss tearing apart IOTA, Ampleforth, you know, tearing apart Ethereum when Bitcoin was dominant in Richard's mind. And those were liabilities also. Every stream, every combat, in the opening up to legal liabilities has been a mainstay of Richard's, not an avoidance. I think on the launch of Hex, there was even stream with 4 lawyers or 3 lawyers and such, right? So we always reference those things. So I don't put a lot into the idea that, you know, opening legal liability or something like that is the reason for silence or question marks inside of a tweet. I just don't weigh it that way. But that's just the devil's advocate side. Now, the other thing is, you know, where does this go from here? It is what has been said on stage for the past hour is either believe in either the chain or the individual founder, the 14 developer 2 team fighting with each other to give a best product. Either believe in that narrative, or you believe that this is, you know, speculative plays on TA charts. That's kind of the game I see, at least in this 2025.
Fair enough. Yeah, that lawyer stream was pretty epic on the day that Hex launched. Go ahead, Habibi.
Yeah, I mean, I just I just wanted to bring up a tweet from Bretep that just nobody seemed to mention, and that is, truth is, it doesn't matter what anyone says about a protocol. People always read into messages and try to twist its meaning in every way possible. It's best to use common sense and math when making any life decision. And the
Can
fact
you
of the
share that in the nest,
yeah, I can
if you
put
don't
it up.
mind? Thank you.
Is it up there? I just shared it.
There it is. Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say the fact of the matter is, I've asked a million different ways, but either you believe that Richard is playing 10D chess with us, that he is moving pDAI from the OA wallet and selling it into Most Wanted and Pump and PulseX to try to get us to flush us out of our pDAI bags, and that all of this is one big psyop and he's been planning this, or or the other possibility is that somebody figured out how to exploit the maker DAO. Somebody is actively selling and bridging out of Pulse Chain by minting pDAI, and Richard is telling us that we shouldn't buy coins that can infinitely mint, that we shouldn't buy pDAI, and that we should stick to coins like PulseX, Inc, and Inc can Hex that has a fixed
Right.
inflation rate, and Inc that can be inflated at the 0.005 rate that I think it's down, that Richard's cut the inflation on a lot. So yeah, again, well,
Yeah,
because a lot of this, I think Bretep is a very respected member of the community. I think what he says can be taken as, I mean, he's very close to Richard. We all know that, and I think some of the things that Richard can't say maybe are convicted through this. And I think his message that people always read into the message and try to twist its meaning in every way possible is just a perfect example here, because I'll be honest, the best argument I've heard for why Richard is behind pDAI has been because why include the question marks? So
Right, and that's the title of this space, which was hopefully inviting to everybody. We are winding down at this point, and we've had a really awesome space. Kind of important for people to be able to go back and listen to earlier parts. So we're gonna hear from the last comments here. Dude, then Michael Shaw, then we'll hear from Hawk and just some guy. Go ahead, make your final comments, please.
Yeah. So I just want to give this a sigh of relief to see and kind of circle back to where this all started. For everybody that probably doesn't know, I began seeing this guy minting probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was doing it frequently. And we should have been we were moving up from the bottom, coming up, making some higher highs, and he would just cheat it down. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? Okay, there's some weird stuff going on here. It took me like a little bit to figure out exactly what he was doing because I was busy doing other things. But I'm normally trading the chart daily, and I'm watching wallets, and I ran it by a few people in my circle, and we figured out that he was minting. And once we figured out that he was doing that, and it began to be a lot and more frequent and over and over. And I'm just like, guys, this is bad. So to convince people in my circle, it took a minute to go. They're like, oh yeah, whatever. They're just doing this or doing that, and like it's not going to be a big deal. Blah blah blah. I was like, no, this is a pretty big deal because it's taking everything down in the chain when they're taking stablecoin liquidity out of one coin. You might think it's just one coin. Oh well, yeah, whatever, one coin, whatever. No, the whole chain is affected by this if we let it go on. So I knew it was pertinent to get everybody to remove their liquidity for one, and get the word out for two. So it took well, once I got convinced, it took a while to convince my circle, people around me. And then we're getting the word out, and it took a while. I mean, like I said, it's been like 3 weeks now, and I knew the next step was like, well, we know what's going on here, and this is bad. So, well, the first thing I did was go and contact everybody I could get to Richard Hart, because like, who else could do anything? I knew what the community could do and what we needed to do to mitigate him taking anything else off the chain.
It was the prayer that worked in the end.
In the end, it finally, yeah, the dagger, because I mean, we could only do so much getting the word out and the awareness. And still, you have these people have here still tonight that are in denial about this, even after Richard has come out and said it himself. Like, I
Right.
was getting frustrated too because I'm messaging Breetip myself, no response. Read the messages though.
Well, he doesn't work for
Yeah,
us.
yeah, sure. And I mean, I guess for legal reasons, he's not going to have a conversation with me about it and this and that. But I knew I'd gotten the word out. He'd read it and stuff, and then if they could do anything, they would.
We're so lucky that these figures, Bree Tapp, as you say, and Richard Hart, they're commenting publicly
Yeah,
on things, and
finally.
and even Richard saying, well, you guys already, you had to wait until the whole founder of the whole chain said something,
Yeah,
right? So, yeah, like, so there, I think it does make sense to consider that the default position of some of these people who are seen as leaders is, no, it's not our job to work for you. We're not going to review your homework, and you have to do it yourself. But this kind of got to some extreme level of importance where they felt that they had to comment. So yeah, I'm glad that it was the work that you did and the other people who are monitoring the chain, because that's a strength here in Pulse Chain. I think is the people who have the skills, and then the people who get the message out. We all work together.
yeah. And so we started to get the word out, and most people around me, the little fish, I guess you would say, would start to get the word out, and some people would, take heed to it, and some guys started exiting their bags like early and got out of the way, quickly. And we were still seeing people buy this stuff and give exit liquidity, and we're more and more convincing people, showing them evidence, doing the homework,
Right.
showing them what the whole situation is, and that it came down to, hey, a choice between pDAI or Pulse Chain, because
Right.
everything on the chain is affected by this. For the listeners, I'm just going through it in detail and drawn out just to make you understand. Like, when anybody swaps anything for a stable coin on this chain, it goes through the Pulse Chain stablecoin liquidity, which means taking everything else down in USD that is paired to Pulse Chain. So it's not about we hate pDAI or this or that. I honestly, frankly, would like to see anything succeed on this chain and do well, because we all want opportunity, right? But this came down to a thing where it affected the whole fucking chain, this exploit. And the more liquidity, the more people bought it, the more people held liquidity in it, the worse it would be for everything. And it continued to be
Well,
until
it's
people
still
woke
an
up.
issue.
And it
That's
still
why we're
is.
doing the
Yeah, it
space,
still
is
is.
because it's still a risk to Pulse Chain.
Absolutely. So we got to.
Right.
It's not about your bag. It's choice of your bag or Pulse Chain. Like, I mean, at this point, I mean, there's no hope for pDAI. Too many people know the truth. It's obvious.
Well,
Finally, we
I
have
mean,
clarity.
somebody could airdrop all the holders of pDAI except the exploiter. And they could have a token that doesn't have an infinite mint bug in it.
Sure.
There's plenty of hope, but the hope that we're just gonna bury our heads in the sand and pretend like there's not an infinite minting bug, and we're gonna full port everybody's stack into the thing that's being exploited, that's what's going to keep hurting the chain going forward.
Absolutely.
So we do need the leadership. So thank you for bringing this to people's attention. And I want to hear from everybody else before we close down the space. But thank you again.
Yeah, you bet.
Michael Shaw, and then Hawk, and then just some guy. Just give us your brief comments that haven't been talked about in
Yeah.
any spaces before.
No, thanks, Matty. Thanks all. I just want to say, with this, it's a slight possibility that this does happen. This peg, I think the probability is a lot lower now, but the slight possibility that it does happen. I know you're laughing there, started. What I'm saying is, cause will still get you exposure. So just buy hex, right? I mean, if the small possibility that it does go up, just get in a hex, get in a pulse hex, get in a pulse, because they're all going to benefit for, via the peg. So.
Yeah, that's good news. Appreciate it. Hawk, you came up here as a speaker. What do you have to say? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Just some guy, you're on deck. Or just some G? No, just some guy. Okay. Hawk, last chance. Just some guy, you're up.
Hello, I'm speaking from my phone. Do I sound okay?
Sounds great.
Perfect. This is actually the first time I've ever spoken, so apologies if I'm unprofessional or whatever. But
Welcome.
just a little bit about me. I sacrificed for PulseX 4 years ago or whatever. I've been here for a while. I've held my bags the entire time. I haven't sold a single coin. And I mean, this whole debacle, it's really gotten me worried, obviously, because infinite minting, and then you have other people who are like, no, it's normal, it's all fine, Richard Hart is behind it, and there's, it's obviously we're all here talking about it, we're all worried. So, I mean, the reason I want to even talk here is really it's just one question to me. It's like, why did it take this long for Richard Hart to address the issue? Because he ran a test net and it took him years to build a chain. So it makes me wonder, it's like he must have known about this, right? He must have.
I mean, just to index,
I've
you have to understand, just to index the chain took months. So, like, the idea that somebody would know what all the contracts are, I mean, I'll give it to you that, yeah, it would have been cool if he knew. But I don't think that he did. And that's just because and he even commented on P copies, specifically DAI, and got people excited about that. And then it turns out that the PMaker contracts were so complex and whatnot that that wasn't where his focus was. But hey, maybe it turns out that he was focusing on these other really important things, like not being captured by governments that are corrupt, winning against the SEC, and all these other things that are happening. So yeah, I think it's a fair criticism. It has been brought up before, though, and so that's another reason why we're wrapping up the space, is just to make sure that everybody can hear the information that's already been put out there. But I appreciate that you came out and made your voice heard for the first time, because that's a really important part of our community. Is we have the world record for the most YouTubers live on a single screen, and we wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for the welcoming and the invitations by streamers to people who are speaking for the first time. So I want to thank you for speaking for the first time.
Oh, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I would
Hell
like
yeah.
to add that again, Maddie doesn't really want us repeating stuff here. If you genuinely are curious about that question, once the space closes, you'll be able to listen to the recording or whenever Maddie puts it up on YouTube. This question was brought up and answered earlier in this space. I wanted to bring up something that nobody has brought up yet, and that this is I've kind of really been waiting for somebody to bring it up, but nobody has. If you want to assume everything else, Richard is behind it, whatever, sure. Richard's the exploiter, blah blah blah. That's 100% all fine. pDAI's biggest liquidity is all tied with Atropa. This is factual, this is true, this is on chain. The most pDAI liquidity is all tied with the Atropa tokens. Maria, the Atropa dev, can infinitely mint as many Atropa tokens as he want. Even he could continuously, even if there was no exploiter, even if this was no guy, the person that we have given all of the pDAI liquidity to has an infinite mint built into his contracts that he at any time can mint as much as he wants, and he can sell that amount for pDAI whenever he wants. Maria has an infinite mint built into Atropa. Atropa is infinitely mintable. He can do this as much as he wants. And if you want to disregard everything else I say, if ignoring the Richard Hart, ignoring whether he knew or whether he didn't, that's all irrelevant. Fact of the matter still stays that Atropa, the Maria Dev, the largest liquidity there is with pDAI, he can mint as much as he wants with that. Because we gave basically, he's the one that set up the pDAI. Like, he was the main driver behind this narrative. Everybody thought
Right.
4014 Dev was Richard. And it sucks, and it really does. It Sorry, but I'm really going to cut you sucks. off because you are lying so hard, bro. That is absolute so false. And all I've ever seen you do is spread lies and dissent in every single one of I'm these sorry, spaces. but And I'm not going to take that hard, bro. You are lying out of your ass, bro. That is false. That is a lie. Do not spread lies. Okay, please. let Do me not spread again. chaos. I had.
So we're going to continue the incredibly civil and orderly structure that we've had here. It's been so beautiful at times, less and less beautiful as the night has gone on. So I understand that people are tired, they need to get some sleep, and but I really value that Coexistence Stephen has come on. But that's not the tone of the space right now. So if you want to help reset the room, I can give you a chance to say some things, but really, as we wrap up this multi-hour space that I think has been so fruitful, that you deserve to go back and listen to earlier parts of it. You're welcome to add something that you think maybe wasn't covered yet. A Coexistence, Stephen.
I would like to just address this because somebody's just coming. There's actually been multiple pDAI people that have all come up here and have all.
Again, I'm calling on Coexistence, Stephen, and I'm happy to call on you here just in a second, but I want to keep this space orderly, so that's why I'm calling on people, just so that my autistic friends can listen to this later on YouTube.
Sorry, first of all, I'd really like to apologize for disturbing the energy of the space, because you do an amazing job, and I'm sorry for disrespecting your space.
No problem.
I'm sorry to Habib, but that's not true at all, man. I don't know where you got that information from.
So just give us the information that you have in a non-confrontational way.
yeah, there's just no proof of it. It's never happened. The token was
Uh,
created, and the
Okay.
token
For
has been
Atropa.
pDAI. Yeah, and it's been burnt. So even the FUD around Maria pulling liquidity, like he's it's burnt. So the contract address for pDAI and Atropa, he threw that away, so he can't actually pull it. So I've also heard this idea of, oh, Maria can just dump all the tokens. Like it's completely, it's not based in fact
Okay,
whatsoever.
that's helpful for
If
you to say that in such a relaxed way.
yes, my apologies again. Sorry. That's no
Thanks.
problem. I know you came up here and you said I've been just spreading lies. Actually, everything I've been saying, I've provided evidence for in every single one of my tweets. Every time somebody has come up here and says, every time I've said something, I've provided blockchain evidence with it. Like I said, that again, I don't know how long you've been listening, but I mean, you've said you've been listening, and everything I've said has been postable. And currently, right now, I'm gonna go show you where the Atropa is mintable. And nobody's been saying Maria's pulled any liquidity. Maria actually didn't know that pDAI was mintable. And as soon as Maria found out, he went and dumped all his Atropa that he had into wrapped ETH and wicked the price of wrapped ETH to 2,500 something, to give you guys an idea of how illiquid our chain is.
Yeah,
And that's why this
so if you
matters
want
so
to
much.
look, so if you want to change my mind and people who are open-minded and you want to post something as we're wrapping up the space here, you're more than welcome to make a tweet, share it in the nest, and then we can acknowledge it verbally here before we close out, and that'll help us to put a pin in that and just rely on evidence and be civil discussion. I wanna hear from Sydney because you're a new speaker who we haven't heard from before, and then we'll hear from Gary. So Sydney, if you unmute yourself, you can tap where it says mic is on in the bottom left, and hopefully that'll work for you. And you've just dropped down, so let me go to Gary, and then we'll go to the new speaker, Crypto Munch.
So we have several stable coins, ones that have migrated over from Ethereum, and then we have algorithm, like pDAI or DAI even, and then we have Liquidity forks, basically of all the cores. And part of the issue, is liquidity. So if you want to sell, say you buy into one of these meme coins on Pump Tire, you like it, it goes up to $1 million, and you want to stabilize your profit, you can't really do it because of the liquidity that needs to be paired with these things that are called stable coins, liquidity forks. When it comes to the DAI question or not even DAI, I guess the DAI contract for Pulse Chain specifically, if any other developers were to create and fork Ethereum's MakerDAO contracts and then point to the oracle of PulseX and then burn their maker that allows for that, so they're always dominant as far as the number of maker that they possess, and then they burn it. I don't know that that's trustable enough, but what support would you give to a DAI on a native DAI on Pulse Chain if it is recognized and even possibly launched by Richard or Brett or someone that has this credibility brand? That's my question, because I've heard
Or
several people.
USDC themselves, right?
Yeah. So again, burning keys, burning access, burning admin rights, things like that. Or burning liquidity, access to liquidity, things like that. Those are all narratives inside of this. But at the end of the day, this is social consensus. Things get fucked up enough on Ethereum, it becomes Ethereum Classic, and people move. They don't like one particular EVM, they move to the other EVM for whatever narrative, opportunity, or FUD. Like these are all social consensus things that are just reinforced by what you see on your computer screen or on your cell phone. So that's my question is, any other developers launching, I don't think they're going to have the trust. No one's going to trust Liquid Loans launching a DAI or any of the, even I love Fast Abdul,
but like even his referencing to ink as it's going to require support from people that utilize it as a stable coin. But if Richard or any core under Richard's guidance and scrutiny, that's part of the thing is has he looked at all of Ethereum? No, I think it's pretty evident that he can't look at every smart contract on Ethereum that's been around for so long. But if there were a stable coin that gets launched because it is a fork with these assembly code change to only point to the oracle of PulseX, I think that that's a believable narrative. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, those are great points about trust and reputation and scrutiny. Yeah, and I think that could lead to a whole other discussion. Those are points that haven't been brought up yet. And I think for now, we can just leave it as kind of open-ended, food for thought that really gets people thinking. Crypto M, go ahead and give your final point, and we're winding down the space now. But you'll be the last speaker here, unless you say something really rude.
Hi there. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. Public speaking isn't my best quality, so I'll do my best to try and get my point across. But I just wanted to, the point might have been raised before, I've sort of jumped in halfway through the space, but just wanted to put I don't own any pDAI, but I just wanted to sort of push back on the narrative that, this pDAI is all it's FUD and everything, all of this, but is it not outside the realms of possibility that this could just be a staged event? Because if you look at it, if you look back at the history of Richard Hart and how he's operated, if you put yourself in the shoes of a founder of a blockchain, okay, you
I'm
want to
gonna
create
hear
something,
you out. I'm gonna hear
yeah,
you out.
you want to create your own stablecoin, which he said many times on stream. We know he's built tactically around the SEC. If he's mentioned before about choke point 2.0, and if you was to build something that opposes the status quo, and you're aware of things like we look at Nikolai, the developer of MakerDAO, and him being killed or whatever happened to him. If you was in that position as the creator of this, and you was this tactful as Richard Hart, isn't it outside the realms of possibility that this could be a fun event? And, wouldn't you do this same thing to try and obfuscate any sort of implication that you were behind all of this? There's just questions I
The
want to push
thing,
back, put forward to think
yeah,
for,
that's great.
think about.
That's great.
Yeah.
The things I know about how Richard Hart builds things is he gets the 75 people who are the smartest people on a topic that he trusts. He gets them in a room, like a chat room, and he reads tens of thousands of messages that they generate about what the best idea possibly is. And so I think right now, the best possible idea for a Richard Hart stablecoin can no longer be something that has an inflation bug in it. But I don't think that means that the hope needs to die. I've said, 2 or 3 times on this space, somebody could come along and give you an airdrop if you hold pDAI, and then you would have a token that doesn't have an infinite minting bug and would do all the same things that pDAI does now, that matter to people, like go up and down in price and try to peg to $1. So so I think we've definitely explored all of, I think, the narratives that have come up, and it's been a really useful space. It's exactly 4:20 a.m. for me in my central
Maddie,
time
I'm
zone.
sorry. I know, I
So I
know,
want
I
to
know
thank
you really want to
everybody.
get to bed. I just want to add one
It's
more thing.
4:20,
Coexist.
man. If I can't
I
end
know.
the space at
Give me,
4:20, what am I here
give me
for?
this 1 minute. Coexist Stevens came up here and immediately called me a liar. I just pinned the tweet to the post. The Atropa
Oh,
dev has
great.
$21
Yeah.
million worth of treasury bill that they can pull from and mint more at any time. The treasury bill supply is constantly going up. I linked I linked both the Pulse Chain transaction, the Pulse Scanner links, the debank links, the contracts. If you don't even want to click my links, And all I'm looking for here is an apology from Coexistence Stevens for the immediately coming up here and calling me a liar on everything I've said, when everything I've provided, including this, on what he just called me a liar on. I provided blockchain evidence, and I've provided you. I'm not telling. Do not trust me. Then don't take anything I say. Don't listen to any of the words that I say. Go look yourself. And everything I've said, I've referenced and I've linked and I've provided you. You don't even have to click my links. I've provided all the wallets and exactly how you could go look at this yourself. Treasury bill
That's
is
so
mintable.
cool that you
Maria can
provided
mint
that.
as much treasury bill as they want. And yes, if we can,
Right.
and Maria, again, there's currently $21 million worth of treasury sitting there. Treasury bill
So
has
you've
just with Teddy Bear alone, Treasury bill has 400K worth of liquidity that Maria could sell at any time. All of these coins,
so
the same
you've yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. So you've okay, so you've provided the evidence that we asked for. And so that's great. In future Twitter spaces, I'm probably, when it gets hostile, I'm probably going to tell people to talk to me and not talk to each other, because that's a really effective like group technique to keep the harmony going. But I'm going to be honest, even though my 420 exit got ruined, I appreciate all of you. I have mad love for everybody here on Pulse Chain, whether you believe in pDAI, whether you believe in the exploit, whatever it is, I'm here for it. I want to thank you for joining the Twitter Spaces. I would advise, if you guys have more drama to work out or more evidence to provide, do that on each other's Twitters. I've unblocked people who have added to the conversation, even when I'm just a listener. I would recommend that everybody, if you're here listening, go ahead and follow all the speakers that came up here and made their voices heard. And thanks so much for everybody for joining in. This has been another successful space. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Sorry, Maddie, would you please allow me just the opportunity to apologize to Habibi publicly?
Go
Because
ahead.
I really am sincerely sorry for that, Habibi. My energy is really way off and I kind of disturbed the flow. So it is known that the treasury bill is mintable. I've made videos of that. So I do apologize for that. You said Atropa, so I misunderstood. Sorry, everybody.
I'm sorry. What I meant again, Atropa again. I've been talking for over 16 hours now straight, and again, every single PETA guy has tried to call me a liar when I've provided nothing but facts to everybody. Facts that are verifiable yourselves, and exactly the steps on how you could repeat everything I've said. Do not take my word as law. Think I am lying, and then go look yourself. That is the number one thing about a blockchain, is that do not trust anybody. It's all there for us to be able to look and see, and I'm not hiding anything from anybody, and all of this is there for us to see and look and find ourselves.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love it. So let's end on that note. Good thing we can verify everything on the blockchain, and everybody can get along at the end of a 1600-hour Twitter Spaces. I pray that you all have a really good rest and that your banks pump to Valhalla.